I wonder if they're in
And
the same place for the occasion. We're not.
Nope.
Spoiler alert.
hey guys, welcome to the 3rd year anniversary. Maria is too busy texting to say hello or care about the channel.
I
love you
am
guys.
here. I am present. I am not distracted by my telephone.
I left mine over there and now it's stuck over there. So
Oh yeah,
I will not be
no.
doing that.
Mine's in the other room on the charger because as my husband likes to constantly berate me over, I constantly forgets to put it on its charger holder, the cradle, and then he's like, all you have to do is drop it. Like, you just drop it on it. Why can't you do that? And I'm just like, I don't know.
I mean, that is a good question. But no, I understand. It's difficult. My mom also has the same problem. Okay, let me well, actually, let's wait to do the tier list for a little bit, and just say hi to everybody.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome. Can you believe it's been 3 years? In the comments, put how long you've been watching us. Like, what's your life cycle with the channel?
What's
How
your
did
life
you find
cycle?
us?
Have you
and-
How'd
molted
find
yet?
us?
Yeah. How did you find us?
Have you molted where you've evolved past believing one thing and now think another?
We need to have like a term for our fans. Like, there's
Ugh.
another channel I watch, and they have a term for their fans. I guess we don't have to, but it was.
Wait, was that
cute.
him?
Who?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so quick!
Yeah. I don't fuck around, guys. Yeah, no, we should have like utters.
Oh no, not
Ew.
others.
That's gross.
terrible. Ooh,
We had
okay, so we
parasocial
have
darlings for a bit, but
so yeah, we have some responses. I got in with The Wrath and the Dawn, and then I binged backwards.
that's a good
And
one.
Wait, when was that? Oh, that's
That's
sometimes
year
that
one.
book. Yeah. Sometimes that book, like, it's like erased from my memory, like it doesn't exist.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Chantal says, I arrived here at the Savior's Champion. Thank you. That's been a while. Sarah says, I've been watching you since Iron Widow, and you've been my favorite podcast since. I really manifested that for us, guys. I really manifested that.
Just by saying it a lot.
Yeah, Neo Morales. Also, I found you because of your Savior's Champion review. It meant a lot to me for a lot of reasons.
Oh! I always love his comments. Like, they're always like very like writerly, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh man, that feels nice. I wish I could be a professor.
I think you only had about 10 videos out when I started watching. Yeah, you're an
That
OG
checks
fan
out.
then.
That checks out, Chris M.
Hey,
I
look.
remember.
From the Coraline review, yay!
Aw,
Yeah,
that's
You're like one of 3 people that watched that.
that one.
Oh.
We clicked the same one.
Yeah, my bad.
Juliana Oliveira says, I've been here for 3 years. Greetings from Brazil.
Oh, that's cool.
Fantastic.
I
Ooh.
wish. Oh, I
What were
found
you
you
gonna
when
say, Katie?
Netflix did the terrible Persuasion. Oh my
Persuasion
god, what a
adaptation.
thing!
Listen,
That was a little bit of a flash in the pan for us.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people were angry, and I think the righteousness of our anger
Rightfully so.
also...
Last week!
Last week? Oh, I think
Welcome!
Oh no, I think
yeah,
my
I'm-
mouse just died.
Oh, Jesus.
Really?
Yes, let me go get a battery. I'm sorry, guys.
Why am I the only person who remembers to charge things?
No, it's a battery. Like, you have to change the battery.
Okay, that's
of the
just
mouse.
weird.
Ew. That's
I'll
so
be
old
right back.
fashioned. You want to see? Look, see, this is what I charge. Oh, shoot. This is what I charge my mouse on. It has a gif of an anime girl writing.
Writing what?
I don't know. They only come with a couple of preset ones unless you want to like find the right file size, and I don't have any time for that. So that was the one I liked the most because it's like I'm hard at work, and that's the only reason I sit here. So
I meant writing like a horse or something else, you know what I mean?
no, it was writing paper. The Song of Achilles was your favorite?
YouTube video, remember that, Will? Is your favorite book? God, man, I was so...
Chantel.
You know, it's interesting because we recently did, of
Batteries
course,
required.
the Shadow of the Conqueror, and it's like, it made me realize that, like, that is the grossest, worst book we've read, but Song of Achilles is still the one that infuriates me the most.
Yes, I said
And those
GIF.
two
Get over it.
things- Those two things are not quite the same.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about not how I pronounce
Song
things.
of Achilles.
Also, yes, you do sound like a teacher. Like that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. I love it. And it's like my skillets are teachers, so it's fine. But yes, you do. I'm sorry to say.
Don't say I'm sorry to say if it's not supposed to be a bad thing.
Well, he said folks at the beginning of it, so it's like, oh shucks, folks. Do I really? Yes, you do. It seems like a not good. Wait, the Shad review was so brutal. It was magnificent.
I'm wondering actually how many new fans we picked up from that. I think a fair bit because like our that video is still doing gangbusters. We get like 10 comments a day.
Busters, it's crazy.
Uh,
Okay, we're
have you
back
all
in
read
business.
any-
I have a mouse.
That is, I mean, that's ideal.
Okay.
I'm still reading the part where Science Fantastic said that your hate for Patroclus was, I guess, like a romance in itself.
Yeah, the hate just I cannot go watch that review if you want to see my expression of hate for that
Yeah.
stupid Limp Biscuit.
Oh,
What?
no, not that one. That one. Oh,
Ian Hand says, I love how I can always tell your criticisms come from a place of loving books and reading. It's
that makes me want to
crazy
cry.
because like we genuinely really like, I mean, you can't see the whole thing, but like I have a lot of books and I keep dragging them from place to place because I refuse to get rid of them because I love them.
Yeah.
And like as much as we do have criticism sometimes, we are book lovers, and there's been a couple of people that have made that comment. There was a Reddit thread. We got picked up. Our video for Shad.
Oh God.
Shad's book got picked up by a Shad Watch subreddit. And put on there, and somebody said, you can really tell these guys love books and love talking about books. And I was
know.
like, that's just such a funny thing to see on this channel of people being like, look how they took him down, and for someone to be like, wow, they really love reading. It just made me really
usually
happy.
it's the other way around that we get that kind of
Yep.
a comment.
You mean calling Maria, you know we're grifters, right?
We're grifters?
We're grifters, just like Shad.
Oh, since when?
By the way,
since because we have a Patreon, so we're grifters.
Oh no.
We've been grifting. No, it's funny actually because that video is doing so well and has so many more comments than every other video. I think we're almost up at 800 comments now. Next month, I'm gonna have us do a comment response to it, going through it, and unfortunately, that means I have to go through and screen cap. Interesting. I have to filter through 800 comments and then stream.
I wanna highlight one. I avoid your video. Hey, there are differing opinions. I enjoyed it just. I mean, look, not like there's stuff,
Katie
but
enjoyed it in the way that she'll at the start of a video she'll be like, guys, it wasn't that bad, and then everything Will and I say, she's like, yeah, you're right.
Well, it's still true. Like,
and then
it's
at the
not
end
untrue.
of the video, you'll be like, but I still mostly liked this.
Like,
yes,
like,
so it's really funny, but real quick clearing up. Chantel says, wasn't Song of Achilles the dawn of author jail? No. The dawn of author jail.
Who was that with?
Was the
A Million to One.
A Million to One, the Titanic heist book.
I
that
didn't
was
read
the
it.
Yeah, you weren't there for that one, but that was the start of it.
That book was awful, like just the absolute worst.
We thought it
but
was
not
gonna
actually
be so
the worst
cute.
because Song of Achilles was the worst.
Also,
And
Soda
came soon after.
Soto had a question. Is this going on the channel?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's what happens is there's now video tab and live stream tab, and so our live streams go on the live stream tab.
Oh,
So-
that's really cool with Zoe, or I'm assuming Zoe. You guys didn't like Six of Crows, but I got halfway through your review and knew I would like it, so I read the book and came back for the review. That's great!
That's fantastic. There's been so many people who some of our reviews that are like, you guys didn't like this, but I mean, based on your review, I think I'd really enjoy it. And
Yeah.
that is a weirdly cool thing to happen out of books we didn't like necessarily enjoy. Like somebody said that out of in The Spear That Cuts Through Water.
Yeah.
A couple of people said that there, and I listen.
Well,
if we get people to read more, I'm absolutely okay with that. If you like books we didn't like, that's okay. If you liked books we didn't like and you watched the whole video where we didn't like it, you are a trooper, and thank you for being here.
I do not agree with this ideological project. My ideological project is to
Oh,
promote
Lord.
media literacy and to get people to think more critically and analytically and
Yeah.
have a space to speak analytically. And the thing is that I'm mostly right. So if you don't mostly agree with me, then you kind of haven't learned anything from the channel.
But they came back. So that's what, look at that. Look at that. So they get perspectives of each side. Oh my gosh, my laugh line on my one side of my face up curves my eye, and I'm really hating it.
Yeah, stop laughing so much.
No, please stop analyzing your face. Stop being a butt face.
Will is
Jesus.
judging
For poor
people for their poor
taste.
taste. Yeah, a lot and harshly, and
Regularly.
huh?
Regularly.
Regularly. Yeah, no, I've always felt this way. I like when people are like, well, I think it's good to have a multitude of opinions. I think that's a mark that you're not very confident in your opinion.
It is so funny. I remember Will and I bonded, and a lot of you know the story about other people's writing in our creative writing class. But one of the clearest memories I have is him and I sitting in the building that the English offices
On
were
the
in.
bench.
Across from a table, and
Was
we
it?
were arguing about a movie or a show. It was something, and we were like hammer and tongsing, and he's like, "It's just bad," and I'm like, "No, here are all," and we're just going back and forward. Like when I tell you, sometimes Will and I, especially back in the beginning, we've really mellowed out now, but we would like. I remember we once had the most intense argument about Greek food, and then I realized the fundamental flaw in his ideas of Greek food. He didn't eat meat, so he had never tasted Greek food.
That's like 90% of like most culinary. William,
He thought his idea was that Greek food was bland,
it is.
which I
what
I
have you
stand by
been
it.
eating?
No.
What do you
We're-
eat?
again-
Bread?
he's not engaging with like the very savory thing and the seasoned thing at the heart of the meal that everything else complements.
Their desserts often bland if it's not baklava, and even baklava is like a little bland. It's just bland
What
in a good
des-
way.
What
What
desserts,
desserts
are you eating?
having?
Like the little one that looks like a threaded like braid, and like the little.
Threaded braid?
I know what
I
he's
think
talking
maybe
about.
you're not as Greek as you think
Kadaifi?
you are.
But
I have no
kadaifi
idea
And
what
is
it's
the
called.
same-
you say as she whips out a Greek word.
So kadaifi is the one that looks like a little bird's nest. It looks like little.
Yes, that's what
bits
he's
of
talking
straw.
about.
No,
No?
that's not the one I'm talking about, but I do
Oh,
recognize that one.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one is soaked in the same stuff that baklava is soaked in, and often served with nuts and stuff like that, and it should be well spiced.
Also, yeah, wait, Chris said, isn't baklava Turkish? I don't know, Maria.
So
That's a
fight.
Greek food and Turkish food have
Oh,
a
here
lot
we
of
go.
overlaps, like a ton. And so there are like baklava is Greek in the sense that Greeks eat it a lot. It is Turkish in the sense that Turkish people eat it a lot. But like we have stuff that's the same thing. So for instance, we have spanakopita. They have burek. It's the same thing. It is spinach pie, phyllo with spinach, egg, and
It's my
feta cheese inside.
favorite. Oh, it's so good.
little bland.
It's the same
What the
dish.
fuck?
Cheese is one of the least bland foods on the planet. Jump off a bridge.
What are you talking about?
It is
Oh, don't-
so
okay, there is one
salty.
thing. There is one thing
What
I
does
can say about
bland
William.
mean to you?
Yeah, wait a second. There is one thing I can say about William that you can't trust, and it's his taste in food.
Okay, Miss. What was your favorite, Miss Pickle Juice?
Yeah, I
Um,
like pickle juice. What's the problem?
A very
well, I'm-
salty.
I think we should
Wait.
just leave that there. But
What
no,
does
a
bland
fun-
mean to you?
like
Not tasty.
flavor, like the flavor is kind of blunted and it isn't very strong, and there isn't like a kick to it. Like if you have like Indian food has like a kick to it. Like you have it and you're like, ow, my mouth felt
Oh,
something.
so you mean spice? Like heat,
No.
like capsaicin?
Kind of, I suppose, but even just like something that like has more of like a body and kick to it.
I don't know. I think
I just think
feta
he's eating
cheese
from
is
shitty
one of-
places.
Yeah, I think feta cheese is one of the strongest cheeses you can have. It's tart.
No,
it's
it's true.
salty.
No, it's true. That's true, but it's also tends to be like paired with like in salads and stuff, where like the rest of the salad doesn't have like a taste. What?
Pickle juice slushies. Okay, but also, I want to answer this. What's each of our favorite foods? Einstein bagels for Will.
No,
No.
wrong. You don't know me at all.
No. It's
I don't
My
know
mom's
what you
Chinese
eat.
fried rice.
That's
Chinese
all
fried-
you eat in front of me is bagels.
I do like bagels, but my mom's Chinese fried rice is number one. Then she makes portobello burgers, which is number two, and then she makes grain burgers, which is number three.
Okay, Maria, what's your favorite food?
So I think, oh god, it's such a
That's a
weird,
hard
like,
question for you.
It's such a hard. Are we talking like types of food? In which case, I'd have to.
What's
say,
your favorite sweet? What's your favorite salty?
As far as like a dish goes, I think if I had to like pick one dish, it would probably be my mother's spaghetti bolognese because it's fucking incredible. And sweet currently would probably be my mother's malva pudding. And that changes depending on where I am and what I'm craving. I fucking love malva pudding. It's a South
I just don't like
African
pudding.
dessert. It's not, it's a cake that's soaked in stuff. It's British style pudding.
Oh, delicious.
Yes, and you serve it with either custard or ice cream on top, and it's served warm, so it's incredible. Malva pudding is fantastic. What a dish to come out of white guys going into the bush with nothing but like some apricot jam and like other weird stuff. Like it's a survival food. Like it is bizarre, but anyway, delicious. Yeah, but as far as types of food, right now I'm real into Vietnamese, like the freshness and like the vegetables, the pickled veggies.
If you,
Mwah.
I know it's so delish.
And the really marinated like pork, very good.
All right, Katie, you're up. What do you want?
Just stew every day, every single day. Beef stew.
Yep.
Beef stew with
Yep.
a hunk
Really?
of bread. Yep. Beef
She
stew with a
loves-
hunk of bread.
She loves stew.
Yep.
Oh, I
loves the
do
beef
really like bread. That's true too.
Yes.
Okay,
Ooh,
number four
actually,
is French bread from Walmart.
I retake everything. Bread. Bread is my favorite food. My boyfriend would
Yeah.
answer that.
Yeah.
Bread is my favorite food.
Bread.
Will. Oh, I can just eat it. We went
Constantly.
to this place called Greenville, South Carolina, and they have a really cool bike trail. And off the bike trail is this place called the Swamp Rabbit Cafe, and they make their own bread and they make these beautiful sandwiches.
Ooh, they're getting a
If you're-
call out on here.
Yeah, if you're new and you go up to the cashier and you say, "I've never been here before," they just hand you a baguette of their bread, and it is incredible. They salt the outside, so it's fluffy and delicious. It's got a nice crust, but it's salty on the outside. Guys, we literally just were tearing hunks off. It was great.
Oh my God, you're making me want to go.
I know.
You know.
Okay, so we've had 10 minutes of talking about food, guys.
Food.
This is a book podcast. Also, we have 69 viewers. Nice.
Yay!
No, we have 73.
Well, if you okay, so it says oh no, it just jumped. Okay. So I thought before we got started on the ranking, we could do a bang, marry, kill. I set one up for us.
Cool.
Perfect. Really quick, I just want to
I know.
highlight a really, like, what a shout out to a forgotten relic. Brain says, I got into the podcast through Hyperion. I've watched the Priest Tale video 7 times. The way Maria described the Paul DeRay
Yeah.
scene on the flame tree, I get chills every single time. Let me tell you, that is still, to this day, my favorite set of the videos we've done.
Yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
were so fun to talk about.
It was excellent. We have to read the second one at some point. A couple of people have asked about it, and it's going to do terribly for the channel, but we have to do it. Anyway, fuck, marry, kill, Will.
Okay, all right. I'm going to present my screen, but you know, again, guys, just be kind of cool if something comes up.
This would not be
maybe-
the time to allow that to happen.
This is here. Let me close this.
Oh, great. You get a wider view of how a mess the closet is.
Oh, your closet. I was like, my closet. My closet.
No,
is worse.
no.
All right. Let me try
Oh,
to get
Lord.
this so that we have. Okay, so so that we curse less, we have bang,
Bang.
marry, kill. So this one is for Katie. So
Oh, boy.
the 3 couples from Six of Crows. Who do you want to be the third of? Like, if
Oh,
you had to
Lord
go-
help. What a
Ooh.
question.
And
You're
the way
coming
we're
out
gonna do this
swinging.
is the way we're gonna do this is that it's gonna be me and Maria. We're gonna pick them for you, and then you'll tell us what you think.
Okay, I already know. Oh,
Hold
wait,
on,
wait,
I
wait.
wanna
So,
change-
sorry, you have to repeat what the process is again. Sorry, I was too busy thinking about my thought, about my decision.
So
Um,
we're going to vote. Will and I are going to place them on your behalf, and then
Okay.
you're going to tell us if we were correct or not.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna. This is basically like we're like an Indian mother. You know what I mean? Like we get to decide what you.
Okay.
what you marry. Okay, so Maria, here are my initial thoughts.
Okay.
Kill these two because I hate them.
Okay.
Bang these two because they're not healthy in the long term, and then marry these two. Because Nina would be like a good mom to Katie, and Matthias is very large.
Now here's one of the problems we have is Katie is definitely more penis friendly. Like she has dabbled in both directions, but I would say and she does love Slash quite a bit. So I think I would put the two guys either in the probably in the bang category if I
Wait.
had to.
I have
Yes.
a question. That's the actor for the other character?
Which
What?
other character? Yes,
In-
that's the.
For the boys?
Oh
The
no,
two...
no. That's not the other guy. We haven't met him yet. I don't know if he was in season 2, but he definitely wasn't in season.
Okay,
1.
I was gonna be like, that's a child. Like,
He
I
was in
don't feel
season 1.
comfortable.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. He just wasn't in a lot of the episodes.
No, he hasn't been introduced at all in season 1 yet. His character doesn't exist in the timeline.
This guy?
Yes.
No, he is.
They meet him. He is, but that's not the character you're thinking it is.
I'm pretty sure it is, but also I don't really feel like going to IMDb to check it out. So basically, so you're saying that they would go into Bang?
Yeah, I think that would be a fun time.
Okay, all right. Though it could. Okay, yeah, okay. And then we kill these two, or
I mean, I'm still. I don't. I think. This is hard. I'm not sure how much.
I've changed.
Yeah. It's so for instance, I think a younger Katie, Kaz would have been akin to like Loki, and like a younger Katie would have gone that direction hard.
yes.
But an older Katie, like she's really developed in some interesting directions, you know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here. I don't know, but I think I'm gonna hear.
I think that Matthias is more like Juan than Kaz is. You know what I mean? So we already kind of know that that's a good pairing for her. And again, Nina is very maternal. She would take care of Katie a lot, I think. And her I just don't like also. I forget what her name is.
Hey, Valerie.
Oh, you made it, Val. It's way too early in the morning for you. I
double checked. Wylan is introduced in season 2, not season 1 of Shadow.
Okay, so that's not the actor for Wylan.
No, it is.
Can we?
It might be.
Well, I don't like looking at him. He looks like a child. He looks like one of my middle schoolers.
He does look like a baby.
So that kind of influence.
However you pictured him in the book.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I just picked these because they're like I didn't want to have to find like 6 parts of art. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
No. Just however you pictured him in the book, ignore the show.
Okay, understood.
Okay, what do you think, Katie?
Maria's right. I would love, like, just for a good time. I know those boys are going to take care of me, I feel like. It's because it's going to be, like, it's going to be fun for them, like a fun fling, but they're going to make it as fun as possible, I think. And also their attitudes in the book, it felt like it was going to be, like, a real, like, I could trust it for a good time. God damn it, you're right, both of you. I do like me some Nina. I kind of liked her a lot in the book. I want nothing to do with the Kaz combo. That is way too much drama and just, like,
lot of drama.
It's gross. It's gross to me. I want nothing to do with it.
So Eugene says, I think Wylan is 15 in the books as well. Okay, so they're all teenagers in the book, but we're ignoring that. We're thinking of the age from the TV show and the age that the book actually treats them, which is like late.
Okay, can we all just pretend everyone's of age? It's because like now I feel vastly uncomfortable talking about this.
But also how they were presented, like they acted as if they were like 25, 26.
Yes, correct. They do not act like teenagers in the book, by the way, if you haven't read it. They act like you would assume at least 19 at the very least. If not older.
Yeah, it's one of these things where it's like, okay, we're just pretending here. It's more like the archetype.
Okay, thank you. I like that disclaimer, but yes, Maria is correct. That is where I am at. What a fascinating thing. But yeah, no, I wouldn't want to touch. Kaz seems icky to me. He's got too much emotional issues. I mean, so does what's his face, Blondie. But like, it's a different kind. And like, I don't know, like it's kind of complicated, but I feel like I could be their marriage counselor too, where I could be like, look, you guys just aren't communicating right. He wants this and so I think I could do good.
Yeah, I agree. I think you do a lot of good for them.
Thank
I
you.
don't know. I think he's too emotionally withholding. I think that would be a problem over the long term.
It would be very
But
annoying.
Nina would not be, and the two of them
Yeah.
would bond over.
So it would work out.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking still about Kaz and
No,
Alexis.
no.
Oh God, ew, no, I want nothing to
Again,
do with
nobody's touching them.
that. Yes, no,
Okay.
except for to kill.
Yes.
So the next one, it's
Hi,
finally
Eden.
happened. After 3 years, I found it, and I set this up for Maria. Okay, guys?
Oh man. Oh my God.
You guys
Sorry.
ready?
Yes.
Monster boyfriend.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So,
Oh, shut up! I don't.
No.
Yeah, he's dirty. He's a dirty
What?
thing.
What are you guys talking about?
He's
We
a
have-
dirty creature.
We have Ampersand from Axiom's End. We have Temeraire from the Temeraire series, and then some robot from some other book.
You are.
I almost put the turtle from The Spear Cuts the Water instead for him, but I was like, that maybe is a little far.
Yeah,
He
it
was my
is.
favorite character, but that might be, that's a little...
You should have done the I guess he's not Monster Boyfriend. I was going to say the wolf guy from that one that pretended it
What are
was
you doing?
Monster Boyfriend, but it wasn't because he could turn into a human.
Which
Oh,
one? No, it wasn't for the wolf. I actually really wanted to put Slewfoot there, but you didn't read that one.
oh,
Because that
that
would've
would
been
have been
perfect.
so good.
Yeah, so I've been trying to set this up for like years now, so I
Oh my God,
spelled
you have to do one
Temeraire
for
wrong.
me next time, but like include that one because that would definitely be my Mary.
No, that'd be definitely your fuck. Okay, so, here are my thoughts, Katie. She's definitely fucking Ampersand. Because
Yes,
here's the thing. His hands can turn into different shapes and manipulate things on like,
Oh
like
Lord,
an
help.
atomic level or like a bacterial, like a really small level. Also, he's more size appropriate. Marry Temeraire because he comes with money. He comes with Lawrence as like a best bro over time. He's also kind of like childish in a little bit of a way that I think Maria would find fun. And then also you get to go riding through the sky whenever you want. Very cool. She could visit her moms from England to here. And then we just kill this one.
Oh
because I
my
want to.
God. Okay, so I don't know because your reasoning makes a lot of sense to me, but there's just something about like I don't know why I just had this little niggling sensation that like the personality of Blay maybe like but again it's been a while like could that be in exchange for her boyfriend? I don't know. Like
So
could it be a Mary? Like I don't know because I feel like there's a connection there.
So here's the thing that I actually also think more seriously than I just want to kill him, which I do think seriously, but is that he's or they, I should say, because they are non-binary.
Yeah, kill.
Binary.
No sex. There's probably no sex to be
Well,
had.
it's not even that. It's that they are very childish, I find, in their
That is true.
demeanor. They're very like anxious. They don't really quite seem to be mature in the way an adult would be. And
But-
so I think that's not great in a relationship.
No, I don't think it's great either, but like I would say Maria's a fixer. So like it could happen for the bang. So it could but the thing is Ampersand just has to over like arch that. I'm gonna agree with you, but I think I'm wrong. I'm gonna just let you all know. I think I'm wrong. I think we're both wrong. But maybe
think-
not.
You
I
think
don't
she
know.
would bang Murderbot?
No. Murderbot's a weird one. It's because like I have like it's been so long, I don't remember. Like I just don't think she cares enough about it. So maybe kill.
The other problem is that they are asexual, and that would be
That's
a
what I'm
problem
saying.
for
Over
Maria,
time, that
I
wouldn't-
think.
Yeah, like she'd figure it
wouldn't
out.
be a problem with Temeraire.
Well, no, you marry, like, whatever. Maybe it's like an open marriage, like, He also,
I also
there's that
just-
time he went into the pond, so he's clearly capable of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's yeah. The thing is she's not gonna fuck bang.
Well-
she's not gonna bang Temeraire.
Well, okay, have you ever seen somebody do, like, a car wash?
Please don't go into this. Yes, so I've seen someone do a car wash, William. Please continue.
Okay, all right. I was just saying that could work. Okay, Maria, what do you think?
Okay, so, zero slander against Murderbot at all. I love that character a ton, but yes to the current placements. A few,
Okay, cool.
A few different reasons, though. Ampersand, not only because of the fingers, but specifically because we could share memory. He could see all the things in the past I have liked and just
Oh, Lord help.
immediately enact, which for me, like, that sounds like a great time. That sounds like a great time. And of course, Temeraire is basically landed.
Yeah.
Of course we're marrying Temeraire. And he would absolutely be okay with me having a lover on the side.
Paramour.
A paramour, exactly. And so only because
Could even be
those
Lawrence.
Two, yes. Those two are so perfectly placed that unfortunately Murderbot is a kill. And I think the problem with this is that unfortunately we just haven't had enough monster boyfriend to really flesh out. And I don't think that Murderbot actually belongs here, but I understand why he's here. We had to have a third.
Yeah, that's why I agreed in the end, because I was just like, the thing is the Mary and the Bang are set. Like,
See,
I
thing
can't
is,
change that.
if Slewfoot was around, that would make the Bang very tricky.
Yes, it would.
You know, I remember there was a member of our book club, I won't say her name, Lindbergh, but she had been talking about how about the raw, like, kind of sensualness of Slewfoot, and you know, you can grab onto the horns. Handy,
oh, Lord help me.
For positioning. So, but yeah, no. So, and it's taken me 3 years. I've been trying to do this for 3 years.
Oh my
and eventually
God.
I was like, okay, technically Murderbot is
A creature.
they're a monster against good taste in writing, but technically a monster as well.
Oh
All right,
my
so
gosh.
for me, there's a secret theme to the ones I'm picking, but I don't know that you guys are going to be able to pick up on them. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are going to be able to notice
You're
the
so
theme
dumb.
between the three of them, but I leave it to you. It's Nina, Cosima, and Hala.
Okay.
I'm actually blanking a little
bang.
bit.
Cosima goes in Bang. Throw it in Bang, William.
Bam.
Okay. Okay, so I think Hala is a better homemaker than Nina is.
Wait, remind
Hala
me.
is from Sword Heart. She's
Yes.
the main character. She's got the big boobs.
Oh.
She ran the house. Yeah. I think on a day-to-day basis he'd have more fun with Nina, but I don't think Nina's the girl you marry. I think you either fuck Nina or kill Nina. And the reason I think Cosima wins is I think Cosima has something to prove. And I think that would work in bed for Will for a really good time. But I also don't think she's a wife. So my vote is Hala marry, Nina kill.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
Katie, what do you think?
I think they're all tsunderes. Is what they said. That's so funny. Will, did you read Sword Heart?
No.
Yeah.
He just listened to our video.
Okay, I feel like that's gonna put Hala into kill. It's because he didn't emotionally connect with her like he did Cosima and Nina. You know, like I feel like Nina's the Mary, Cosima's the Bang, and Kill is the Hala. I don't know. Like if he knew Hala, then I think I don't know.
I'm
the thing
gonna
is,
argue that we did an excellent job in the rewrite and in the original video.
Fair enough.
Detailing who Hala was, that she could run a household, she was good at bargaining, she knew, like,
no, she's too vanilla. She's too vanilla for Will. Like Nina's got that spiciness in her, and Cosima is Cosima. So like she's gonna just stay where she's at. So like I feel like Nina is the spicier of the two.
Hala fell in love with the sword.
Okay, yes, but Nina's like, you know, bitchy
She fell
funny.
in love with a Nazi.
Well, yes. But I don't think we're considering who they love for William's taste. I'm just for the sake of difference, I'm gonna say this.
Okay. Will, what's your answer?
So this is tough because this is kind of what I think, and I'll explain why. I think this is a good lineup. I think it starts with Nina. In that, I think I'm marrying Nina. I don't know if that's a good decision or not.
It's not.
I like very
I love
driven.
you, but it's
What did I say?
I like very driven women. I like opinionated women. I like women who like that kind of an archetype.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
problem being that that's not good to date always. But Nina does have a certain amount of like kindness to her that I
Yes.
think would really work. She's not as like she's not as like self-destructive in the long term, I think.
Yes, I agree.
I think Hala actually is not bad for Mary, but I think she's like she has too much anxiety. I have a lot of
I
anxiety.
knew he was gonna say that.
Like, and she also like is not very practiced, if you know what I mean. So like that would be kind of a bummer. She's also like an older woman. Um,
Your
yeah.
age. God forbid. God forbid.
What's hilarious is I think in book she's probably our age.
That's what
Like
I said.
older.
She's our age.
She's age appropriate. Cosima, I could see marry, but the thing is,
Oh
she
Lord, help!
has
So
like,
marry all of them? You want to marry all these?
well, no, I'm saying
Correct answer.
no. I think the thing is, long term, she's kind of very insecure, which would lead to self-destructive behavior over time. It would be a lot of work. I also don't think she's kind in the way that Nina is kind, which is like something I'm increasingly realizing is nice to have in a partner.
Yep, I'd agree.
And so
Oh, I feel vindicated.
but also I'm not killing her, because if it's a choice between Hala and Cosima, I mean, like,
Absolutely.
I don't know, there's something about Cosima I just find much more
You're so dumb.
Okay, so yeah, I think that matches up. I think that's appropriate.
That's fair.
Oh my God, the
I
conversation in the chat is killing me. Holy crap.
love. Chris M says, "Love how Oh, where did it go? There we go. Love how Cosima in Bang is not even questioned.
Nah, that's
I
staying
mean,
there.
she's also quite adventurous, I think, which would be interesting. But if Katie and Will marry Nina, what will happen? Me and Katie will be bros, and we'll just be like, hey, what's
Yeah,
up?
I guess so. I'll
I don't
be
know.
like,
The only thing
what?
is, I don't really want to interact with Matthias because he's a dude, so that would kind
Yeah,
of
so
suck.
I'll be the one that spends more time with Matthias and helps him heal from his wounds so he can have a healthy relationship with Nina. And then you can just, like, in the meantime, provide Nina the warmth and kindness that she needs.
Yes, exactly. I think that would be like a good, that would be not bad.
That's very
Somebody said
kind.
sister wives edition.
Yep.
Okay.
I love how
Okay.
Valerie and Angry Otter are just going at it. Hala versus Nina. Hysterical.
Still.
Yep.
I mean,
Fisticuffs in the alley at 7
I will
p.m.
say, I think Hala would be fine to marry in the long term. Like, I think she would be pleasant. I think she would be like, good. I think we would be good together.
Yeah.
But this is probably the better choice. But
she's also rich.
Yeah, but in like gold.
Can we...
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't translate. It doesn't translate. Okay. So yeah, those were pretty good ones. The other thing I thought would be is that we ran a poll for which roast was best, and we had a bunch of entries. So we narrowed it down on our Discord to the top 4, and then I added Shadow the Conqueror because I knew that was going to do well. And yeah, that is what everyone picked. Best.
Oh, yeah.
We had 1,000.3 votes. And
Oh,
Shadow the
wow.
Conqueror won by quite a lot, 61%.
Lord
Then
help.
Iron Flame at 20%, and A Court of Wings and Ruin at 14%, and then Reminders of
So-
Him at 4.
I voted for A Court of Wings and Ruin because I can rewatch that video and get a lot of joy out of the reactions. And I find I watched Shadow of the Conqueror, the video, and while it was a very fun video to record,
It's boring to watch.
rewatching it, it's not that. It's hard to watch.
It's
because
exhausting.
I'm just reminded of all of the
Mhm.
things that like I had problems with. So I find A Court of Wings and Ruin funner to rewatch. Shadow of
More
the
fun.
Conqueror was the thing is we were so granular in our critiques of Shadow of the Conqueror, and we were all on the same page, so I can definitely understand. And I think a lot of people find a lot of catharsis watching that.
Every time I watch it, I just get so exhausted with how many things are wrong. Again, if you did not watch that, it was literally the only book we have read so far that I just personally feel is not it doesn't provide anything to the writing world.
One of the reasons I wanted us to do it is because I've seen other critiques of it online that were like on YouTube that were like good, but none of them were like comprehensive, and none of them explain the plot in Maria's particular alchemy. And so I
Oh, that
wanted there
too.
to be like online a definitive, this is everything that is wrong with the novel, and it's also kind of a fun video to watch. And I think that succeeded. I think that
Yeah,
went well.
I think it did that. That subreddit that I found literally said this is the best analysis of this book.
You found, or do you mean
No.
my mom found it and
Yes,
sent it to
Will's
us?
mom found it, and Will sent it to me, and I just spent a long time reading through it, especially because there's a lot of nice comments about our analysis, the things we were saying. Like, I thought it was just going to be like, yeah, I hit Shad. I mean, it was actually just really nice to see some of this stuff. Somebody noted during the Wings of Ruin, Mr. Jones says Katie was in her bag in Wings of Ruin.
Wait,
Yes,
what does that mean?
was.
What does that mean? I know what it means. You don't have to tell me. Yes,
was so
I'm well
funny
aware.
That was so funny with the, he's lifting her up part with Tamlin.
Yes,
You raised me.
And so
it could have been really beautiful.
I can stand on
And that actually, I think, leads us well into our first one, which is that we are going to be ranking the funnest roast. This is us ourselves being like, not necessarily which was the worst book or which video did the best, but which one did we have the most fun doing and we look on most fondly. So obviously, Shadow the Conqueror is and Soggy, because we all just fucking hated that.
It was a rough ride.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful.
It was such a chore to have to deal with how much there was to talk about. Like, I felt like we should have been, which granted, I suppose we were paid, but I feel like we should have been paid by like someone else in some way, maybe Shad himself, to have done that, because that was a job. That was hours and hours. That was over 25 hours of either listening or analysis.
Yep.
It was mind-numbing. It was mind-numbing. Okay, A Court of Wings and Ruin. That one you said was fun, Maria. So like,
Oh my
crunchy or
God.
crisp?
I would say as far as funness in the video itself, I would probably I'd put it at crunchy. I won't put it crisp because the reading process was very painful for me personally.
I thought it was very
agree
fun.
with that. Part of it is this is going to be grading a little bit on a curve of the older ones. We tend to forget how much we liked doing the episode or reading it. We mostly just kind of remember how it ended up. So it's a little bit of a curve in that respect. All the Murmuring Bones, I would say, is burnt in that it's a good video, but it's not actually very fun. And I kind of felt like we just there wasn't necessarily a lot to say about it, and it didn't necessarily deserve our
energy.
ire.
No,
No,
some
there
of these
wasn't.
videos
Yeah.
have that effervescence where we're just on fire and like laughing.
Mhm.
as
Well,
it's
it was a
happening.
hit and it was a miss. It's because like the writing was really good, but it was laudable. But except for like it disappointed in its plot structure so much where it became kind of like just a disappointment. So it wasn't like totally fun to like talk about and critique, because it was like but like, there's nothing funny or outright like ridiculous to talk about,
Yeah, and again, it wasn't really deserving of a
roast
great
per se.
roast. So I
Yeah.
think burnt is probably. Let's put it in soggy. Okay, this is actually something we're gonna figure out with the other one. We need to just put Shadow the Conqueror in its own tier, because otherwise it's going to just skew everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's
fair.
just the absolute worst. Let me put it here. I still want that homoerotic thumbnail of Shad and Dalen. Any artists out there?
I want it drawn in the style of the Mario and Sonic meme. But I want it drawn like that, please.
Okay. Iron Flame was fun, but I remember Fourth Wing being funner. I don't know if it's because I was in my grandpa's like study, so it felt more formal, but like I think the video was good, but it's not my favorite.
I say lukewarm. I felt lukewarm
Okay.
on that video,
Maria, what do you think?
personally.
Yeah, I would say lukewarm. I would definitely say Fourth Wing was funner. The problem with this one was like the author tried to actually hit some really emotional notes, and it just didn't work. Like the book was trying. So the nice thing about Fourth Wing is you could kind of look at it and be like, okay, this is just like a rompy romance with like a death college fantasy veneer, but Iron Flame was trying really hard to feel like it was fantasy with the
Yeah.
stakes and real problems, and it makes it so much more sloggy to get through because she's not great at writing
Yeah.
that stuff. Where Fourth Wing was just easy to kind of laugh at, and I also felt more bored reading Iron Flame.
Yes.
Fourth Wing just went. Like, the pace
Yeah.
was breakneck. So, yes, I would agree.
Okay. Let's see. Divine Rivals. I think we
Oh
should
my.
put in lukewarm. Just 'cause
Yes.
I don't remember it very well. It
Yeah.
also was not a super long book. I think our criticisms, I think there were some funny Maria rants in it, but I don't
Yes.
remember it,
So,
you know.
one thing I will say is I think this is similar to Murmuring Bones in some ways, where there was some good that we liked, and there were some there. It was a frustration with potential. One thing I've noticed about us is we're less funny when we're frustrated at the wasted potential of a concept,
correct.
because we're mourning a little bit, and so
Yes.
Divine Rivals hits that point, because like we all noted that the romance itself, like this type of couple, you don't see
Would
a
be
lot.
cute.
By the end, had it been built up properly, had it been like pared down, it could have had a really cool, interesting thing to it. So I would say lukewarm, or for Murmuring, I'd put it with Murmuring Bones. I think there was some funny bits in the video.
Ooh, so no middle?
I mean, maybe burnt, but it just
Yeah, let's put it in burnt,
was,
I think.
it was a critique with disappointment more than a fun roast, I would say.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. Six of Crows. I will say that I thought this was a really good one. Just in terms of how it ended up, in terms of like how Hammer and Tongs I went after like a really popular book. So like I don't remember it being particularly fun, but I do remember my rage being kind of fun. What do you guys remember?
I say crisp. It's because that, or crunchy at least, because it was just so fun, because there were so many aspects that got really ridiculous towards the end, where like the heist was going on. It was like, wait, why did you do this? Wait, why did that happen? And but it started like vague, so it was kind of like really fun. It's also because the characters were super detailed, and like how they were. There were so many engaging characters, as in like, you know, there were a lot of them doing a lot of things, and so to talk about what dumb things they did was fun.
So I'm gonna cut the difference. For me, I would say lukewarm. So I'm okay if you put it in crunchy.
Yeah, okay, we can put it in crunchy because I do remember it being fun, but yeah, that's fair. It's actually funny because this is one of the ones where like sometimes I go into reviews and I'm like, I can just kind of coast, you know, I can just be smart. But with books I know people are going to argue with me about, like this one where it's a very popular book, I'm like, no, we got to get granular, we got to get specific, we need to cut off all their routes of escape. So I got to think of, people like to use excuses that have nothing really to do with the quality of a book. And I was like, no, everything is going down. There we go.
Yeah, for
And
me,
then we have, huh?
For me, it was just a little like boring. Like not necessarily the
I
video,
understand.
but like, so I'm fine with crunchy. Okay, Reminders of Him.
I did not read that, so I'm not part of this.
That was fun, partly because the book was
enjoyed it.
Yeah, the book was short. I think we ended up with some really good criticisms of it. I think also it was kind of just an interesting roast. Some of our roasts get samey after a while. Here I
Yes.
felt like we brought up some interesting points. And because it's a less known Colleen Hoover book, I think there was like, I don't know, I find it a little bit unique. I'm fond of it.
I'm fond of it too, and also for the same like. It's funny because as much as I didn't like it, I didn't go into it feeling like it was going to be a roast video, and in a lot of ways it just felt like a really in-depth analysis of what kind of went wrong or how to do it better. And so there's almost like a rewritiness to it. So I would put it in crunchy. I think crisp is saved for something where there's just an utter joy in the genuine roastiness. And so far there's only 2 on this list that I'm thinking of that I think really hit that standard.
There's
Agreed.
like one I'm thinking of that I think would be really good. I will say that Valerie said, I felt insane reading Six of Crows because everyone loves it and I love to have a good time, but it just did not land with me at all. I kind of feel insane too because everybody loves that. Like Carrie can read, like talks about how like that's her favorite book. And I'm like,
Cindy also talks about how it's one of her favorite books. And I very much respect Cindy's takes on stuff with a lot of things.
I think she's very
Fascinating.
funny. I'll say that. But yeah, that's the kind of quality content you get from other booktubers. I like the
Oh
whole
my gosh,
scene needs
William,
to up
stop
its
it.
game. If you guys don't know, that's the reason I started this channel is
Oh my
because I'm
God.
so disappointed with how good video essays are for video games and movies. And then for literature, it's just a lot of people being like, "Hey, who's your fantasy boyfriend? I think Kaz is so hot. Oh, the vibes of this book were
I don't,
immaculate."
I am not on BookTube.
You
I
guys
have
aren't
no experience
co-signing,
with
but I
this.
think we all know it's
I'm
true.
not, no,
All right,
no, I'm not
Butcher
co-signing
and
at all.
Blackbird.
Crisp.
That would be the other one I would put in crisp. There's one other that I think.
Yeah, there's one on there that I really think was good. I think that yeah, this was a lot of fun because Amanda was there, and she's always a blast.
That too.
I'm disappointed the video didn't do better. I thought it was gonna do good because
Too.
It's
yeah, I
too
thought
bad. It's because there were so many funny things to talk about because the
yeah,
book tried to be like a funny romance, but also kind of serious because they're murderers. So it was like, what? And so it was very funny to fall into all the trappings of the genre.
yeah, it feels and it was like just thinking back on it, we laughed so many times. We had these
Yes.
communal laughing
And
moments.
it was just an absurd book. Like it was one of those where it's so silly as you're reading it that it's like as much as I cringed because some of the sex stuff was just
Oh God, I know.
Ugh.
not my bag.
He just stayed inside of her for
Ugh.
8
Pick a
hours while they
safe
slept.
word. God, I hate
in
that
the
book.
middle of things. But while listening to it, I just remember at a lot of points being like, "What is happening? Like this is so bizarre." So
Oh my
yes,
God.
I'm happy to put that one in crisp.
Wait a second, Stephen.
Will, having just played Bang, Marry, Kill, booktubers only care about shipping. First of all, Bang, Marry, Kill is not shipping. It is strategic. I love it as a game because it's like choices based, like boiled down to its purest form.
It's kind of
and also
like
that
the
was
trolley
like
problem.
exactly. It's like the trolley problem. My favorite goof of the trolley problem is a guy set it up for his like 4-year-old boy, and he explained it to him, and the boy took the train and ran over both of them. It's like, and that way children do. They're just like
Yeah.
they just run people over,
Yep.
which was very funny. Okay, Stardust Thief. I am gonna put this. I want to put this in soggy. What do you think, Katie? Because I remember reading this and I remember being like, this is just such a samey roast. We're complaining like it didn't feel different to me. It also just felt like we shouldn't have read this book to begin with. And that's kind of how I felt about it. It's a bad book, but it also felt like, why are we reading this?
Yeah, so I'm curious to ask you in a second a question, but before I'll answer you. Yeah, I would think like I just don't feel like it was on the same level as Divine Rivals. It was kind of like a slog to have to talk
Mm-hmm.
about because it was honestly like there were just there were so many things. Like for example, the one scene where she's where what's his face is like, "Oh man, I left this really dangerous magical item in this room because I had an aneurysm and I blacked out from here to my
Oh,
bedroom."
God, that was dumb.
Like I was just like, "Oh my goodness gracious." Anyway, so yeah, I feel it was also soggy. It was exhausting to talk about, but I also have a question. Why do you feel like we shouldn't have read it from the get-go in particular?
Because it's YA and it's dumb YA, and by this point in the
Fair
channel,
enough.
I feel like we just should not be reading YA books, and
Fair enough.
especially if we know they're going to be bad. This was a Patreon pick, so I actually didn't pick it. It was an end of month, I believe. And so that's partly why we read it. And of course, this is a good time, 50 minutes into the video, to shill for our Patreon. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button as well. We're about 30 people away, I think, from having 13,000 subscribers, which is pretty cool.
Please
We also have a
subscribe.
we have
Join
a
the
Patreon.
grift.
I love when people are like, it's that whole meme about like, oh, you live in a capitalist society and yet you say you hate capitalism. Interesting. And it's like, yeah, guys, we got to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a Patreon. It's a really cool Discord, lots of fun people there. Everybody's very, it's interesting because I barely
Respectful.
need to moderate it. Everybody's very respectful. There's a lot
Yeah.
of disagreement, but it's never like weird. There's actual analysis of things.
And
And
writing, well, it's on a pause right now, but also writing like analysis, like on a like closer level, and also I was doing like critiques with people with their writing. Maybe that'll come back again, not right now.
Well, that is a Parasocial Darling tier reward. So
Yes.
before that, though, we have the book club, where we get to go a live stream of 2 books a month. You get to be in the live stream. You read along with us. One of them I picked, the mid-month one, and then the last one you pick. So we do a poll. People vote. I think this month we're doing The Blade itself, which should be fun
Yes.
because I really want to read that. And then in the final tier, we have the Parasocial Darlings tier. This is where me and Katie do a critique or like a close reading of a book to look at what they do on the prose. I like to say this is what we do here is like a macro review, and what we do there is a micro review of like how does the author write. A lot of times it's questions I have about how an author does a thing well, and then we'll look at it in the moment to see. We do sometimes roast other books. These Violent Delights, for example, is an awful book and written
We
really terribly.
It's really, really nice though. It's because we also compare authors and like how they're both maybe good at something, but one did something differently. And so it's also a nice way to use our degrees because I get to now reference all of the short stories that I wrote essays on in college. So we also read more traditional things like Where Are You Going? Where Have You Been? So, like, join, you get to have a bit of classical literature and a bit of not.
Eugene says, Will, you eat even without the Patreon. You eat bad authors for lunch. God, I
Oh, what
wish,
if they
because
are?
then they couldn't write anymore.
Oh
And
my
that would
goodness
be
gracious.
ideal. Okay, so yes, this goes
And
in
I
Soggy.
I will say Soggy as well because I actually read that book. I didn't do the video. I did watch the video, and yes, I would agree. Soggy.
Can you do Nightbane next so that way I can go run for water?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Nightbane was me and Maria.
Yes.
I'll be honest, this felt like a chore to read and a chore
Yes.
to review
It
because
was
I
so
don't think
boring.
it's boring. Also, we only really did it because of the algorithm, because like the first one did well and we knew this one would do well and it did. But like I don't actually think there was anything really to add. That's
And
one
it
of the things
was
again is I don't like to be repetitive, and like it
yes,
has all the problems the first book had, but like
but
surprise.
and worse and more.
Yeah. And
Why
it,
do
it just
people
felt
suck at second books? Sorry.
well, people suck at writing in general. So it only makes sense that as the thing gets more complex, they get worse at it. But but yeah, like so that's one of the things going back to what me and Katie do is often like we only really need to read a page or two of an author's uh work before we're like, oh, these are the problems they're having or this is what they're doing good, and we don't actually need like we don't need to go over the whole book. You can crack the code really quickly. And in this case, this is again like a YA book that we just not shouldn't be reading, but like what is the point really? So I
Yeah.
would put this in Soggy.
I would say burnt. I would definitely say it wasn't as bad as like the Stardust Thief, but it wasn't great. And I do think we had a little bit of more fun than you and like than the other two videos during the actual video itself.
I'm back.
Yeah. Okay.
So somebody pause film said, "I thought you liked." Where did it? There's my thing. I
This
thought you.
Nightbane
This
over
Nightbane
Light
over
Lark,
Light
but I
Lark.
could be misremembering.
You are misremembering. Will and I both thought we didn't think Light Lark was good, but we thought that the hate it was getting was wildly overblown, considering a lot of the stuff that the people who were disliking it liked. And there was a couple of like fun, weird things, and like the author's like weird writing quirks were like fun to point out the first time, and then the second time you're just retreading.
And it also has the Savior's Champion, Savior's Sister problem of the second book's structure is real dull and harder to do.
God,
And
it's
just
so
nothing
bad.
happens for most of the book.
Guys, oh look. First time I've managed to catch you live. Just wanted to say I've been binging your videos over the last week and really enjoying them. I shall likely see you on the Discord soon. Have a good weekend.
Come join
Yay.
us, Alex. It's a good time.
Crane said, I really love the few videos you shared on micro technique critiques of writing. Maybe you should upload some more videos like that on YouTube. Not a lot, but a few to give people a taste of what they can get. Yes, I actually did that several times, and then I haven't in about a year because I've been too busy with editing. But
Yeah,
at some
Will
point, I would
is.
like to share more like 10-minute ones. For a while, I actually thought about like lagging them like a year, and then after a year, releasing them to the
Yeah, I
Discord or
remember.
the what is the word I'm looking
YouTube.
for? The channel as a
Channel.
whole. But I don't know.
I
We
also Will's a one-man show too. So like Maria and I don't edit the videos. So and I've like multiple times been like, "Will, let me get the software so that way I can help you edit." And then the learning curve is so harsh. I'm like, "Oh man, Jesus." And so anyway, and I definitely don't have the freaking time now. But yeah, no, Will has to do like a lot of stuff and he also does other things like other editing. So like, you know.
Yeah, I've been behind. I really should do it, and I just really haven't.
I'm really
But
glad you guys like
hopefully,
the writing critiques though.
yeah.
They're
Again,
great.
I find those useful. Okay, so me and Maria, or you know what, you
You and
and
Katie.
Maria did Love Hypothesis by I.
Crunchy.
Hazelwood.
Crunchy.
Crunchy.
Crunchy. And mainly because, like, as much as it was fun to talk about and we had a great time, it wasn't, like, as bad as some of the others on this
Yeah.
list. So it was crunchy because it was a fun video and it wasn't a terrible read, but it's not like a proper roast. Like, we
No, it's not.
definitely made fun of some stuff, but for the most part, it's
What?
kind of like the
Like-
most harmless book on this list.
Yes, it is the most harmless. What, like taking Olive's hand and putting it on his
Oh god,
hard,
don't
raging
remind
hard
me,
boner.
please. I'm gonna
And
change
saying,
my mind.
"What are you talking about? I
This
need
is what
you."
you do to me. Oh, God.
God,
Murder me. Okay, let's not.
anytime men talk about their erections, it's just the grossest, dumbest thing. And I say that as a man. Okay. So me and Katie also did Saint of Bright Doors.
I'm curious
so
to
I'm-
hear what you have to say about this.
I liked this review because I was so pissed at this book, and I think we did a lot of very granular review. I don't like it because there's several people who have commented now, like, "Oh, you didn't get it because you're not, Filipino."
Sri
There's
Lankan.
all this. We get all these
No,
critiques
it's Sri
that are
Lanka,
like
right?
Sri Lankan. Yeah, I think you're correct. And it's like I feel like I just don't like when people are wrong and they're wrong about that. And I feel like we talked about that in the review.
We did.
We rebutted their points, so it just kind of irritates me that we're getting comments about things we rebutted. But I think the actual review itself, I don't know. I probably put in lukewarm. What do you think?
I would say the same thing. The thing is we don't have the cultural, religious, or political
No.
background to
No,
like. No.
no.
Wait. To be able to be like, oh, I caught this reference. So it's kind of like the contemporary version of Dante Alighieri's like the Inferno. It's not a fun read. It's not a fun read. You're not going to understand the things. So even if you were from that place, like there's the argument that also like, oh, storytelling might be different where the story expectation. Okay, that's fine, but we're judging it on the base of there is a premise, plot increase, and then climax, and then resolution of the story. So it's just like it was a very strange book. It was like being
also-
high.
Also, a book should be able. So, knowing all the historical, cultural, and other context should add, but not knowing it should not take away. And if
Yes.
you are writing in a way where not knowing it means you are getting a subpar experience of just the book itself, that's a problem. Like you should be able to engage with the themes of a book, engage with the characters, engage with the structure. All of that should be able to happen without having the overall other context. Because if the context is necessary to get why the book is good, then the context should have been brought into the book, or you should have had a chapter on some stuff on either end to explain.
So a good example, real quick, is I Am Malala, by Malala Yousafzai, who she's the girl that got shot in the head in Pakistan. She gives you all the cultural background in a very well written memoir towards the beginning, and it puts you exactly in the seat. It puts the context in for everything, and so it makes when those references happen more meaningful. Also, I would like to qualify, I too like the Divine Comedy, but I would not say it was necessarily fun.
Well, so one of the comments, for example, was saying like, "Oh, but I get it totally when he talks about there being a multiracial whatever because I'm from Philippines." It's like, okay, but you're still not actually doing the work. Like, you need to do the work to be specific, even if people have a cultural background that they kind of can grok what you're feeling. For it to be a work, you actually just need to be specific. So I would put, but again, it's a good roast, but I didn't have a lot of fun with it.
No,
so
I didn't
lukewarm.
either. It was like one of those exhausting ones a little bit. I would almost struggle to put it into burnt. It's because again,
Yeah.
we had to analyze it on a very critical level in order to have discourse on it. It's because of the type of book it was. And so it's kind of irritating. It's because I don't like the excuses being given for that. Like, I mean, maybe not excuses, but I don't personally think that lens is what we're supposed to be looking through, and people were expecting us to. And I don't know. I just
Yeah,
like,
and there was a lot of like trying to figure out what it's one of those books that preempts criticism because it's like, well, this book shouldn't, like, again, the review I read of it that most stuck with me because it's from a review I otherwise respect was like, it's hard to describe why this book is good because it sounds like it should be, but it is good, and then they don't explain why it's good. Like, it's so frustrating to engage with that kind of criticism of also like, well, it's not trying to be, have a satisfying narrative structure, and you're like, okay, but it's not saying anything by not. Anyway, I think Soggy
yeah.
is true. I just
Yeah.
don't like it.
Okay,
Uh,
then I agree with you for Soggy. Also, thank you,
just
Eugene, for answering Alex.
Yes. Crisp, this was a
Crisp,
great time.
Chris,
It was
I've
so
read
much
the,
fun.
I've watched this
Chris.
video 3 times.
It's so
I know.
good. It
I
was
know.
so fun. That video, Katie and I we ate.
The lemon!
came,
The lemon!
We ate. It was such a good time, and it just like it was so bizarre. As a book, reading it was hysterical because I was just like, what is even happening?
Dude, I like also like we just do better. Like, Maria, while you still live here, you need to start coming over to my house more often to record because I have the better.
I have been
recording
saying this
equipment.
for months because it's also easier for me, but you guys are always like, oh, I
No.
can't.
I know, I'm happy to. But anyway, no, Maria, you should come over for the next couple that we do. It's because we're not going to be able to do that for much longer.
Indeed.
Maria's
Indeed.
dying, guys. That's why.
No, and also like it could take like 6 months to sell this.
It doesn't matter. That's only
so-
6 months. If we continue to do this podcast for any length amount of time, that's only going to be 6 months worth of content, which is not much.
All right, so yeah, I've watched this like 3 or 4 times. I find it so fun. I don't know if it's because I'm not there, but you and Maria are very funny in person. There's a Bert and I was gonna say Bert and
Ernie.
Elmo.
Yeah.
Bert and Ernie quality to it, and you guys very
know.
much like not exactly follow each other's sentences, but there's a very clear like you're on the same wavelength and finishing what the other is kind of saying.
That's
and
because
bringing up
Maria
new
and I are
things.
soulmates. We're the other side of each other's soul coin. I don't think she thinks that anymore, but I still think that.
Think that. What is
All right.
it? But no, that's how I would rank this. This is the rank.
I will also say that Spear Cuts Through the Water is not a roast because 2 of my co-hosts made a very spirited defense of it. But if I had to, I would put it down in burnt if we were counting it as a
I actually really enjoyed.
I enjoyed
that
it.
video. I thought
I
it
would
was
say
That's
lukewarm,
so
at least.
good. No, for me that's crunchy. We had a lot of like we engaged with you, Will. We talked a lot about like the ways to make it better, and like by the
I
end
agree.
of it, there was such a bright, like I had such a good energy. Like it was so creative of a video. I think that was a great video.
Okay, we'll count it as a roast and we'll put it in crunchy. Okay, so that is our definitive funnest roasts. Again, they don't really match up with which ones were most popular or the ones people enjoy the most. I think, again, because people are looking for a different thing than we are when we're doing these.
Yeah.
Like Shadow the Conqueror, I'm sure it's very satisfying to hear it taken down a peg. But it's just, like Maria said, it's just sad.
It's a chore. It's a chore.
Yeah.
It's a task.
Rewatching it just puts
It's
me
just
back
exhausting.
in the like mindset of what was happening, and I was just like, I don't ever want to be there again. Like it was
It was
so
honestly
bad.
it was
was
honestly
so
the worst book I've read. Like, we read hundreds of books, and I also have to read books now for school, and I've had to read 5 of them already. And it's just like, it's honestly one of the worst books I've read in years. I can't, like, I mean, there are worse, like, maybe prose per se. Like, I've read worse prose 100,000,000%. But, like, it's the worst overall product, like, that I've consumed.
It's just toxic in a way that a lot of the other books aren't. Like, like Akatar has some
Yeah.
troubling gender messages in it, but it's trying
I
to
would
be a feminist book.
way
This book is like
rather-
feminism sucks. And it's
Oh,
like,
any
okay.
day of
if
the
I
week.
had to reread any of these, like Shadow of the Conqueror, never again. I never want to. It made me. I missed Sarah J. Maas.
I
would have
know.
read any of those books over having
Because,
to read
look,
Shadow of the Conqueror.
It's harmless. It's harmless. You can tell it's, for the most part, harmless. There are some things that are troubling, but, like, also the majority of the books we read, it's an author trying to put something out there. And in my opinion, I still find a lot of value in that. And so that's maybe why, like, again, the whole philosophy thing of writing. I like, but this is just like, I'm not very happy. And since then, I've gone onto his channel and watched a couple of his videos because prior to that, I've never heard of him. I knew nothing about him. So I always try to do that. So that way I do, death of the artist, basically. It's because I want to look at the product itself. But like, I, it's so weird. Like, I feel uncomfortable with the
Yeah.
personality he puts out there comboed with this book.
He's
Yeah.
he's a kind of loathsome person, and that comes through in the book.
Can I?
And
Oh,
it's a very
yes.
political book in a lot of ways because it's espousing his politics.
It's just in everything. It's really hard to separate it. But I want to make a funny note. We all are familiar with painting with a twist, that thing where people like
Yes.
bring
No,
drinks.
they won't. They
Yeah,
won't know.
So I'm explaining. Painting with the twist is the thing that happens where you go with a group of friends to a studio and they have a painting that
And you get
paint,
drunk.
and you bring your alcohol. I need to open my blinds. It got really dark in here. But you bring your own alcohol, and you can drink and paint, and the instructor walks you through step by step how to do the thing.
It's very
Well,
fun.
I was looking at what the options were for fall. Actually, it wasn't even me. Gina was looking. Mr. Sapphire, for those who know.
Wait,
was
am I
looking.
invited?
It's not that we were doing it. She was just looking at options, and she
Oh.
sent me a Resand and Feyre Skyfall. Literally, painting with a twist has a Resand and Feyre Skyfall.
It makes sense because Farah does care about painting so deeply, but that's
was
Are
so
you
funny.
fucking serious? That's
I am-
wild. That
it
means
is.
the population that comes is a very specific population of
Yes.
women.
Let me
Very
open
bizarre.
my blinds. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very funny. You guys should go and do a review of it as a video, and you'll just take.
Oh
like,
my god,
it'll
that would
like
be
vlog
so
style.
funny. Yeah,
That'd
that
be
would be really
hilarious.
funny actually. No, but if you guys decide to do it, can you please invite me?
Of course.
I also
Um,
want to be invited.
Also, I do have something I want to invite you to. Don't let me forget later. It's a really cool Halloween event, and you would still be here for that.
What day? Because I'm taking my mom's up to Greenville.
I
on
know,
the
the
30th.
14th.
Okay,
14th.
perfect. I will be here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now that we've finished with the roasts, we can move on to. That's right.
Ooh, book toast level.
That's right. The ultimate. The reason we are all here.
All right. So Coraline goes into crisp.
I would argue that. I would say that it's more crunchy because to me, it I thought it was good, but I did think it was like missing a little bit.
I
But if
understand
would
what you mean. That's fine. Put it in
Yeah,
crunchy. I would agree.
crunchy. Okay, let's start with Paranesi because I think we can all say that thing is fucking
Crisp.
crisp as hell.
Crisp.
Yeah,
all
it's
get out.
crisp as fuck. It was like I seriously suggest to everyone to go read this book. It is such a beautiful experience and it's so fun and it's like the best for. So what the book no. Shoot. What's it
Saint of
called?
Bright Doors. Saint of Bright
Thank you.
Doors.
Thank you. See, this is where Maria can understand my mind and it's going to be really sad when
I know,
she
it's
moves
because
away.
I had the same thought. I had the exact
Yeah.
same thought that you're about to say.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
I
So
did
when
too,
your husband
guys.
dies, when you inevitably get married and your husband dies and my husband dies, if you do not get back together with me, I'm gonna be very upset.
This
So
only
anyway,
works, by the way, because they both date way older men than them because they.
It's 9 years.
it's a lot. It's a lot, my love. It's a lot, my love. They will pass before us.
It's gonna be
Um,
so funny for you when I date problematically young.
Oh
I'll be
God,
like,
yes, it
I'm
is.
just following your perspective, and you're like, she's 21.
Yes, Bahamas. Yeah, Bahamas. Maria and I are drift compatible, and like I just really wish she would embrace that fact in the future when we get older. It's because like that means we would have a beautiful home. We'd have great animals, and it just like I don't think she will. I think she'll always go for the man, which is understandable. I also
Well, you don't
understand that.
have a penis, Katie.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm just real into the.
I know, but like maybe when
Maria-
we're retired.
I've said this before. Maria is so straight. She makes me believe more in the existence of gay people because there must be a counterpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if there is light, there is shadow, and like she's
Yes.
so straight. It's so annoying.
It
It keeps us from
is.
being closer friends.
I
And
Yep,
really
I
me too.
and listen, I acknowledge that sometimes being into men ain't it, Chief? It's rough
No,
out
it's
here.
not. That's why I'm gonna die when you move away. It's because we're not gonna live in the same place. We're not gonna move with you, by the way. Like, we're not going there. We have to go north.
Why? He said South Carolina gives him the stuff he needs.
Yes, but it's still too south. It's too
guys, can
warm.
we not dox ourselves on a public live stream?
We're not saying anything. Um, but
Anyway, back
anyway,
to
yes.
the book.
Anyway, back to that. Piranesi is literally such a beautiful joy. Crisp it is.
Crisp.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful book. I didn't love the ending, but it is such a
Yes.
beautiful
And
beautiful
to finish the thought that Katie was saying earlier before we got derailed, it is able to be literary fiction, but it grounds the reader in the main character in a way where you bond with Piranesi and he feels real. And so the slow unfurling of all the odd stuff happening around him, you're grounded in him, and it makes it so that you can hang when shit gets weird. And so as it like unfurls, you are invested in him as a character. One of the problems with the Saint of Bright Doors is you never
Thank you for finishing my
bond-
thought. For the
yes.
love of God. Thank you.
You never bond with the main character enough that you feel for him along his journey as much as you do in this case. And it just it hits it like it is what literary fiction wants to be, but in a
Yes.
very lovely,
Yeah.
approachable, and just well written, clean way. Crisp AF.
Crisp AF.
Yeah.
Courtney Lovett says, this is how you know sexuality isn't a choice. Exactly. Like if Maria could be gayer, she would be. She has the moms, the woke agenda is at play, but she just
Also-
can't. Like
also
she
this.
just can't. This is not an admission that Katie and Maria are planning on killing their husband.
I am not. I'm very fond of him.
No, I am far in love with my husband. Look, we're both straight for the most part, but my God, me for the most part, like 95%. But the point is that, what a best friend. And now we're adults. And let me just tell you, for those of you who are not yet 30, you're going to lose touch with your best friends and they're going to go away. And then they're not going to be very friendly with you. It's because they have their own lives and it's a part of life. And it really sucks that that's the part of life that you're at right now. And it just like makes you want to kill yourself. But continue.
She says,
Continuing.
and I listen while 4 hours away from people who
Yeah.
never visit me.
Will has
Um,
it sharply. No, I offered.
3 years later, Archie says, I love how you are all dressed as the three primary colors. That is really funny now that I look at it. And it's funny too because they're each our own personality. I want to wear black, but I can't, so I'll wear blue, which is close.
Maria's in a dress.
Fiery spirit, red, center of attention. Katie, yellow, lovely, energetic, but also a touch
some green.
whimsical and melancholic.
Yeah.
Very
Oh.
natural.
Also, she looks like she's about to go to Miami, but
She looks
as
like she
for-
could be in a what's that one director who does all the like pastels?
Oh,
Ari Aster?
Grand Budapest
No.
Hotel.
Yeah, Ari Aster.
That's
No.
not Ari Aster. You hope.
Oh, no, it's not. That's the horror movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's Midsummer and Hereditary. That is not the author.
It's a name
auteur I'm
like
thinking
that.
of.
It's a name like that.
It's something like that.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
Yes.
Thank
Katie,
you,
Katie
Eugene.
looks like she'd rock
And
up
Pause
in a Wes.
films.
Katie looks like she'd rock up in a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah, that is
Everybody's
exactly
like,
it.
Wes Anderson, guys, get it
Yeah.
together.
Thank you. I
Okay.
did not know.
All right,
Continuing.
Piranesi then goes in.
Chris.
Cuban grandpa energy.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. She's very like, it's the 40s. I'm in my 40s. I'm gonna go to Miami. Miami. World War Z. What are we thinking?
Can we put it like halfway between lukewarm and burnt? Lukewarm and burnt, like it.
Oh,
it
no, I'd say,
definitely
no,
was-
lukewarm. Lukewarm for me.
I want to put it in burnt, so we're gonna put it,
Oh,
I think, in
shit.
between.
No, put
Yeah,
it in
it's
burnt.
just-
Put it in burnt then. I would
I
not
think the thing
argue
about
for
I
it
want it
lukewarm.
halfway. I
Oh,
want it
God,
halfway.
okay.
Okay, I just didn't really love it as a book. There are some really strong moments in it, like we talked about in the review. It's not like a terrible book, but on the whole, I just didn't love it. For me, it's again. By the way, we are getting rid of Shadow of the Conqueror here because that would just skew the entire
Yes,
rating
it would.
system.
Also,
Um,
can we just like appreciate this real quick? You may be the only three millennials in existence who couldn't remember Wes Anderson's Sorry, folks. I know. And you know what's funny is well, I know Maria. I don't know about Will, but I watched like all of his films.
I
I've
like
only
Wes
watched-
Anderson's films.
I've only watched one of his when I was really young. It was Steve Zissou and the Life Aquatic, I think it was. And I remember thinking
Oh,
it was
yeah.
kind of
That's-
funny and depressing.
That's
That's all
like
of
the
his
older
films.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't. Yeah.
Wes Anderson is someone you should look up if you enjoy film because it's so unique.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
also
Everybody
does
says.
like silly camp, which I adore. I like silly camp. It's like one of the exact reasons my boyfriend can't do his movies.
Oh, look at everyone.
That's
They're like
funny.
the rewrite of World War Z was more fun than the yeah.
Yeah,
Review.
we had such a good idea for how that could work.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's going to happen also with Spirit Cuts the Water, where I still think about how impactful that moment that we came up for the book would be with the grandma and
I
the,
know.
and the
I know.
goddess
I
Yeah.
know.
meeting.
I'm so proud of that one. Like that
I know.
that's up there in my like
Mhm.
wow, big brain Maria.
It's
Yeah.
so beautiful, and it didn't happen. It's so weird.
That's like one of the like I mean constantly throughout that I was just like wow that's why I at one point during the recording I was like but this is like a really good attempt and Maria's like no and then like we clarify and stuff and communicate but the point is like I was just like this is a crazy attempt at a first novel. Wasn't it
I
a first
also-
novel?
No,
I want to
second.
give
Oh well even second.
No, second, I think. I want to give Maria mad props for that review because I asked for specifics and she delivered. And I think that's a good example of like sometimes you just want, like, I am actually okay now with her view of the theater as a good, like, um,
Look at you.
technique. Because
Am I not go ahead.
well, I asked her for specifics and she gave specifics. She said it's this, that, and that. And one of the things is like in that review I was talking about in The Saint of Bright Doors, they didn't give specifics. They just relied on vibes. And that's not a thing.
Yeah.
I get built
Oh!
up about this. And I think also it's a good example on my part, because I'm great, of how to take criticism, which is that like, or not criticism, but accept a different arguments and that I
Yes.
actually do understand it now. And I'm not going to rant about how she's wrong about this. It's, you know, and I think that's really the heart of trying to of what we're trying to do with the channel is that you know we're trying to be Socratic in a lot of ways about the channel. We're trying
Just
to be
ignore
Socratic
her.
in a way about the channel, and you know, recently there was a there was a presidential debate, and my mom was like, "This is not that good a debate," and I'm like, "No, debate is what we do on the channel, where we're trying to match opinions and elucidate how we feel about things, and what
This
they're
is a
doing is
sham
trying to
of a
score
debate.
points." Yeah,
Yes.
like they're doing blood sports, which is fine. You have to do that when you're dealing with evil people. But yeah, that's I think a good example of what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do with the channel.
Yeah.
Yes. And
And Katie was there too. Yeah.
you know what? I cannot fully describe to you how angryfying it is when like so I'm just not built for discussion. I am
Katie-
not built. I've never been built for discussion.
I think
Katie,
you're
would you
excellent.
shut the fuck up?
And I thought you
Yeah,
were great
you're
in
so
that.
good at it.
Yeah.
You're so good at it. Our reviews when Maria isn't around are always really intellectual. You're
And
really
our
good when we do
reviews
critique
without
things.
Will are also excellent.
Yes,
Mm.
yes, whatever.
But,
Let's continue on.
Regularly comment that they miss you when you're not in videos. Also, I think the benefit I had in that particular video is Will and I spoke about it like the day before and argued. It's like, you know, when you and I talked, what was that one book that
Yes,
we
I
had different
know.
opinions on? And by talking about it, we were able to kind of coalesce our thoughts about it. Oh, the ogre, not the ogre, the orc coffee shop one. And
Oh yeah.
you did an excellent job in that video, but it's because like we practice routed it, and that's what happened with me with the spear cuts.
Can we
through
not
water.
just we need to start doing a practice round then.
Well, and like you've talked about before, three people is I don't actually like our 3 people reviews. They're harder to edit, they're longer, and like they get like a little bit more all over the place.
Unworldly?
Because all of a sudden, 3 people are having to
unworldly.
have a like review, like it just becomes a little bit more
It's so
difficult.
hard.
Yeah, and
is.
it's hard to know when to talk and not because there's more lag than other times. Um, Okay.
Sorry,
So
that's also
spear
me
cuts.
pandering. Sorry, I just wanted to apologize to you both. That's also me just being like, I wish I had a master's.
I don't have a master's, and I'm way smarter than other people, and as smart as Maria. Saved
Notice
it.
how he only
Saved it.
qualifies one of us.
Okay, so spear cuts through the water. Let's just go ahead and just do that now. I would put this in soggy. Because the problem is the only fond memories I have of it are Maria's rewrite, and that's skewing me a little bit. But where do you guys want to put it? And then we'll just put it midway.
I mean, it was exhausting.
No, I would say the place for me would be lukewarm because there were parts of it that were crunchy for me, but I also understand the ways in which it wasn't. So I think the correct place to put it is lukewarm.
I would say I would agree with that. I think lukewarm's a nice place because I also think a lot of like. Yes, I would say lukewarm.
Okay, so I'll put it in between lukewarm and burnt because I think this should
I'll
go in
allow it.
soggy.
I'll
So
allow
where that's you guys, there's 2 of you and 1 of me. So we'll put it in burnt.
I think it should exist besides World War Z, if that means anything.
That's where it
That makes
exists,
sense. All right. So the first video we did of the year proper.
Oh my gosh, Vampires of El Norte! What a
I can't say a thing.
flashback. Burnt.
Yeah,
It's not soggy, but it's burnt AF.
it's you know what? For me, it was soggy, but I understand people reading it probably like a more realistic of how other people would interact with it would
Yeah.
be burnt. Like
And
it's not. I still think about all the wasted potential in that book and like how turned on he was when she was sewing up his arm without anesthetic.
Yeah. For me, it's that it started with such potential to be really
Oh,
interesting, and it
Yeah.
just downhilled. to
Oh man.
burnt.
I still
Burnt.
think about that sometimes of like,
God.
oh man, it would have been so cool if she had been some kind of a zombie spirit, ghost, vampire.
And also just,
Oh.
like, this book really just shot itself in the foot. It came out the gate with one of Will's favorite pairing dynamics. Rich girl, poor boy, who has to prove himself to her like out the gate, and it tripped over its own feet every opportunity it had.
Look at that.
Also,
Yeah, the
Chris.
Vampires of El Norte review is a fave of mine. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really should rewatch some of our old ones, but I find them a little painful. Between
I
my
do too,
hair,
because
the
I'm
video
always drunk.
quality. You're funny when you're drunk. Okay, so yeah, let's put that in burnt because again, it's not the worst book we've read, but it wasn't good. All the Murmuring Bones, I feel like that's another burnt as well. Like
I
it's
would
not
That's-
good, but it has some redeeming factors.
I would fully agree with that. We're all on the same page for that.
Warm Hands of Ghosts. That was one me and Katie did. That was World War I, but with ghosts and like a gay devil who like plays a fiddle. God, I'm still so pissed about how he didn't have cooler powers. He's
Yeah,
the fucking
let's not
devil,
talk
and he
about it.
just kind of takes
Don't
some
talk
of your
about it.
memories and is like, "I'm playing on a fiddle."
I would say lukewarm or to burnt.
I would say burnt actually, because there are things that are kind of good about it. The
There
doctor is
are.
a good character. A lot of people said this was a very analytical view. Like a lot of people complimented us on how smart this was, and it's funny because I was like, I didn't think it was any more smarter than all the other reviews we do. I think we're always very smart, but yeah, let's put in burnt. I think.
I'm going to highlight something real quick. Take a look at this. Congratulations on 3 years. Love this channel. After a medical emergency this year, binging your reviews and videos really helped me keep me sane and happy. I enjoy the 3-person reviews most. Oh, I'm glad.
Aw. Thank you.
Yeah,
Phoebe.
that's really nice. I love people who binge our videos.
That
Or
like
who are, like-
literally warms the cockles of my heart.
I love seeing it because you can see as they go through because they comment on a bunch, and I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah, I know.
they're working that backlog.
Okay, so Maria was the only one who read this. We watched the TV show, and that's mostly what we
Oh.
Shogun.
Shogun. So
I would say
My book.
Yeah, book.
I'm gonna put it halfway between crisp and crunchy because it definitely was a good book, but I think the show is crisp and the book is crunch. Like the
Oh,
book has a couple of
fascinating.
yes. I think the book has some things, and it probably could have been a third shorter if we cut out a lot of the internal just running things.
You didn't like the
around.
sex vacation?
The sex vacation, how often people think about things 100 times. Like, one of the best things the show does is you're just not in people's head all the time. You could just cut a
Yeah.
third of it. But it's definitely one of the best books I read this year.
Okay, The Thief.
I would
Lukewarm,
say.
And that's the best I'm giving you.
Oh shit.
What? burnt.
Lukewarm, and that's the best I'm giving you.
I would say crunchy to lukewarm.
See, I would actually almost put this in burnt. Like, I enjoyed it, but I just don't think it's
Oh.
a great book. So why don't we put it in lukewarm?
I just enjoyed it. I honestly like. I agree with every single criticism we had together
Uh-huh.
as a group, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, that's me too. Like, and I still like it as a book. I still find it fun. It was a formative book for me. But everything Maria said is true. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
This is one of the
100%.
few books where I'm the Katie, where I'm like, no, you're totally right, but it's still a fun
And
book.
basically, I'm the Maria, and Maria's the Will.
Yep.
Oh,
that's
that's
what that
weird.
video was.
Maria, what's it like having lower back pain?
Really rough. It's yeah, sometimes I'm like, why do I have a Pringles can in my pants? You
Oh
know?
my
Yeah,
God, look at
it's
that.
a
She did a
flesh-
bro mood. She did a bro move.
Well,
It's
I
only
often
because
say
he's
that.
made that joke so many times.
And I'm often like, yeah, no, it's circular, it's cylindrical, it's green. The top
I
pops off 'cause
know.
I think it's funny
Every
to go with the joke.
every time he says it's green, I'm like, that's not a Pringles can. What are you talking about? Why is this comparison being made?
Well, size primarily, but then other reasons. And then me and Maria did Queen of Atolia. I think it was you and me.
Yes.
Yeah, it was you. And
Yeah,
me.
I was not involved.
I would put that above. I actually would put that in lukewarm. What do
I
you
would
think,
put that
Maria?
in. I would also put that in lukewarm. As much as it was more enjoyable for me, I also think like unfortunately this author just has a couple of like things. Now, if I was going to put it enjoyment wise, like purely enjoyment, I would put it between crunchy and lukewarm because I do think it's better than The Thief. But
Yeah, I think we can do that. Let's do that. I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
Because it is a better book, and I do find myself remembering the things it did well. But like it was just not that fun to actually. Well, I don't think I was ever actually bored. I don't think I was ever actually bored. So yeah, I think mostly I just had problems with it, but I do
Yes.
find myself a little fond of it.
Yep.
Aw.
I agree.
Then me and Katie did A Guest in the House, which is
Crisp.
a comic. And that is crisp as AF. That is like such a masterful book.
As someone who
Ah.
watched the video, I would agree.
I fully suggest listen not listening, excuse me. Watch I listen to so many of the books. I fully recommend buying, supporting, and reading every Emily Clairol book that you can possibly get your hands on because she's an amazing artist, she's an amazing horror storyteller, and she is just an amazing storyteller. Like, I mean, there are faults every now and again, but for the most part, it is just a hit.
I was recently reading a comic by one of my favorite artists who does a ton of concept work, and he does a lot of stuff for Warhammer, called Adrian Smith. He's fantastic.
Oh.
He's such a good concept artist. His designs
Yeah.
are brilliant, and often
Yeah.
they become models or like miniatures.
That's
But he
cool.
did a comic, so I read it, and the art is really pretty at times, but he does not use the format of a comic to tell the story. And
Ah.
this did that so well. This book really used the format of a comic to tell its story and to tell it well. And I have so much respect for that. And so, yeah, that's crunchy. That's crunchy.
That makes me so effing happy just to like hear and to have this part of our discussion because I feel like I remember like in my first year of college in like 2011, you know, like just reading her online stuff and thinking, wow, I want to write like this. But I can't because it's through the comic medium, which is
Yep.
Will is explaining.
Yeah, and so like and also just the story itself is so atmospheric and sad, and she's
Yeah.
way gayer than I realized. Like at the beginning I was like, oh, like a little bit, but then you read it and you're like, oh wow, she is gay AF. Okay, let's go with A Court of Wings and Ruin. Soggy, right guys?
I would put it soggy. The best I'll give Katie is it'll go in burnt, but it is not going above.
I would agree burnt. Like critically and enjoyment level. I just like the thing is when guys just remember I can like dichotomize my brain for like things and enjoy something dirtily, like kind of like watching Prawn, and then like also like critically acclaiming a sex scene in a movie. But like yeah, I would agree it's objectively burnt.
Yeah, objectively it's soggy. I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's a bad book. It's not good at being a book.
No, it's
I'm
burnt.
okay. I'm okay putting it in soggy. That's my natural inclination, but I'm willing, especially in light of some of the other things we've read, I'm willing to put it in burnt, but
Not Shadow the Conqueror though. Remember, we're
no,
pretending
Shadow of the
Conqueror.
Conqueror doesn't exist. It
Okay.
skews everything.
Yeah.
And then me and Maria did. Oh, one comment I wanted to read is: I recently found your channel. I have watched only watched the Slewfoot and Fourth Wing videos because I have not read the rest. LOL. I have Dowry of Blood, Poppy War, Song of Achilles on my TBR, so I'm saving the vids.
Oh wow.
Oh,
You're welcome.
You're in for a time.
oh, good luck. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it critically. Know that like there's nothing but love.
But there's a lot of other feelings. I have a lot of other emotions. I don't know what you're talking about. We do have a playlist called Yes, We Like Books. Those are books that we're never uncritical of our favorites. That's the thing. As a true fan is critical. They both like it and hate the thing. Or they just view it in a scholarly way. But those are books that we mostly really liked.
The rating
This
scale's giving me a headache. And
just
also,
think about Toast.
that's
Yeah, so-
ominous.
It's the idea of what you want the most out of toast. A crisp piece of toast is perfect. It should be crunchy and crisp on the outside, but still soft on the inside. Crunchy, you've toasted it a little too much, but it's still gonna be a good time. Lukewarm, you barely warmed up the bread.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
still better than it being burnt. And burnt it's not good. You're sitting over the sink scraping it
You
off.
went over the other way, yeah.
Soggy is irredeemable. There's nobody is going to be like, soggy.
A soggy
toast.
piece. Actually, so
This
to
is
be
what I
fair,
wanted.
I do like soggy toast a little bit, but as we all know, that actually skews in my favor as far as the rating scale goes.
That's funny. Okay, then we have Mistborn, which me
Mistborn.
and Maria did. I would put this
Okay,
in.
since you're doing this, I'm gonna get water again.
Yeah, we have. I would put this in burnt to soggy almost. Like I don't really think there's almost anything good about this book, despite how much people like it. I
Yeah,
would
I'm
put it in
happy-
burnt because
I'm
I
happy
don't
to
think
put it
it's
in burnt.
I don't think it's odious, but like I do not understand why people like this book. That was another review where we just like went hammer and tongs because Mistress Sapphire really liked that book.
Yep. I'm happy to put it in burnt.
Yeah, let's put it in burnt. We'll do another one. Oh, of course. Apostles of Mercy, which is the third Axiom's End book. Bring it to front.
So I would say lukewarm. It wasn't as good as the others by any stretch, but it also was overall like the reading experience was enjoyable. There was a ton of issues, but I just had more fun with this than a lot of our other ones, despite having a lot of things that was wrong with it.
I don't know. I would put this in burnt just because I don't think it achieves anything or was really that fun to read. But if you want to, we can put it in lukewarm.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I tend to be a little harsher on books in that if it's not worth my time, I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna pretend it's good. Okay, me and Katie did Slewfoot by Brahm.
Oh man, that's a hard one. Hold on a second.
Yeah, let me think. Like
Between
probably put
crunchy and lukewarm.
really, I was gonna put burnt. Between burnt and lukewarm. So let's go ahead and settle on lukewarm.
Yeah,
But the thing
let's
about
do
it
that.
is that there were parts of it that were really nice, like some of the relationship stuff, some of his writing, some of his characterization.
Yeah.
But there were other parts that just did not work, like the structure, the ending.
Oh, yes. Oh god, the ending was like it felt like when you write a rewrite for a Final Fantasy ending, that's how the ending, like a happy ending, I mean. Because all the Final Fantasy like games end in tragedy. It's like when you try to rewrite something to make it have a happy ending, but it really shouldn't have. That's how the ending ended for this. And it's just like also like it became a little bit too like it felt like mixing genres too much between like adventure and action and then horror and mystery.
Yeah, and the whole Puritan to Slewfoot thing didn't quite work. They never really matched up correctly. Hope to Dust says, I remember Will was gonna fight people over their enjoyment of Mistborn. Incorrect verb tense. That should be in the present tense. I will still do that.
But yeah, no, Slewfoot has a great cover because Brahm is an artist. I actually wanted tattoos in his style and did not get it. But despite trying. But yeah, no, Brahm's great. Look at his artwork. It's amazing. His books are worth reading, but they might not always leave you super satisfied.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, all right, so let's put it in lukewarm then. Which is there. Okay, then you and Maria did Sword Heart. Val, I know this is important to you.
Val is in her heart wants it to go into crisp.
I would put it into crisp as well, honestly, for how much I enjoyed it purely. It doesn't.
Absolutely not.
No, it's not. It's not. But okay, like I said about the dichotomized brain, in my enjoyment level, it's crisp. In the realistic level, it's lukewarm.
I say between crunchy and lukewarm. There was parts of this that
So
were
crunchy.
really fun. No. Between crunchy and lukewarm is the
But my
best I'm
vote gets a
giving it.
point, and it's crisp and crunchy.
No,
so
no,
it's
no.
in between.
On
It's
an
crunchy.
objective level. On it, not
Fine.
on a personal. With
Having
your
read the
critic's brain.
review, having
Angry
watched
otter,
the
soggy.
review, having
Tea
watched the
kingfishers.
review, I'm with Maria. It goes between lukewarm and crunchy.
Fine.
And the
Maria's-
reason it goes.
If the guy, what was his name?
What was his name?
Starkus.
If
Tharkus.
Tharkus had been
Tharkin?
a lesbian
Sarkis.
butch woman, it would be in crisp.
Oh my
but it's
god!
not.
It
Yes.
no, fair enough. Once you brought that up, it occurred to me. Oh my god, you're so right.
Halfway.
Lukewarm.
Halfway. Yeah, what happens is
There
that
was
sometimes
some good things that I'll give that book.
Hala, there
Oh.
was one thing or two things about her I really liked.
I loved the humor in it. I hated the story structure, but like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. I really do wish it was a butch woman. I'm really upset, actually. Now that you brought it up again, now
Our
it's rekindled.
rewrite was incredible.
Yeah, it's so good. Again, that's one of those things where you're like, oh, I remember the book better that way. And then we have 40 Flight Tower, Princess.
Oh
Florlinda.
no, you guys are gonna be so mean.
So in comparison to a lot of the other ones we read, I would put it like crunchy lukewarm.
Okay,
I think
good.
that's an appropriate place. I do not see it in crisp, and
No,
this
it's not
was the
crisp.
This was the book where I realized that Tamsin Muir is a very talented writer, but she has the problem where her narrative voice is the same in every single book because the way this is written is the same as how the Locked Tomb series is written, and while I think that worked really, really well for the Locked Tomb because it was a super serious book, and so the kind of offhand, sarcastic, quippy narrative voice works really well for that world. It's similar to how I make the argument that in the short story Benjamin Button, that the kind of craziness makes it so you can emotionally bond to the characters, the absurdism, the funniness of it, and so it helps you believe in kind of the weird things that are happening because the book doesn't feel like it's taking it super seriously, but then it secretly gets you behind you and suddenly you're crying at the end, and I feel like that works really well for the Locked Tomb. I don't think it worked as well for Princess Florlinda. I still think Tamsin is a really good writer. I just thought there was some holes in this book, and so
I enjoyed it a lot more than Maria, and there are some
Yes.
good things about it, but having sat with it for a while, I would put this in like lukewarm. I think it's very good at the thing it wants to do, but it's very slight in a lot of ways. There isn't like a lot to chew on after, and you remember some of the more weird character decisions. And I think true, yeah, Tamsin Muir's, this is like her at her most quirky. Like, and so it's not for everyone. I would put it at lukewarm.
It's not for everyone, and I objectively would agree with you guys. But also, I paid $150 for this edition because it's limited and you can't get it. There's only like 150 or some shit like that. Like, I don't know, like, limited stuff. And that's how much I loved it. I think it made me so happy. It made me so happy. And I know objectively the ending is horrible. And there are so many issues with the progression of the plot. But I love it.
So I want to highlight the great truths of our age, like the greatest literary truths, because this entire stream, Valerie and Angry Otter have been butting heads about their differing opinions of Sword Heart, and and so Valerie came in with it's crisp. Angry Otter said crisp. And I'll accept crunchy grudgingly. And Valerie said Angry Otter truce. And Angry Otter comes in, we stand together. And then while I was making my point about my problems with the book, Valerie said, Marie, I'm making farting noises.
Wait, Katie actually acting out as the cube.
Cuban dad or Cuban grandpa.
Fight for us.
Okay. So
Sunken cost.
you wanted to put it in crisp, right, Katie?
I did not. I objectively would put it between I would put it in lukewarm, objectively speaking. Not objectively speaking, I'd put it between crunchy and crisp, but objectively speaking, lukewarm.
I would say it can go half-half. I would say that it can exist
Half-half?
in the realm of Sword Heart. I think it is better than Sword Heart in a lot of ways. It has some problems.
Oh, wait. Christina, I will answer your question. It's because it is a limited edition. There are people who are legit grifters trying to sell this for an absurd amount of money. But yeah, no, it's just like there's no more print of it.
Yeah, so it's one of those scarcity things. Okay, so God Killer, I would put this in crunchy.
I would put that in crunchy. That was a solid, good
Oh
time.
man, I missed out.
You really did. Now I've heard the second book is not good.
Yeah, which is
right,
why
I
we
hate
haven't
that.
read it yet.
But I would say crunchy. The ending definitely was the weakest part. It had a nice build up, interesting
Yeah.
characters.
It
Really
falls apart
interesting.
in the ending, but the first 3/4 I thought were very strong. It just did a lot of things really well.
Yes.
So we'll put it in crunchy.
I'm very upset that the second book has so many people say it's so bad. It makes me
People
so
are
sad.
just
Interesting.
dumb. Okay.
Oh
we
God.
have Mortal Engines, which me and
Soggy.
Katie did.
Soggy. Soggy.
Yeah, that was a bad book. It's not a roast, weird. Or I think it was a roast. I can't remember. No, it's not a roast because it's not called roast, but it's essentially a roast. Like the book is
It
just
was
very
awful.
disjointed and amateurish.
Yeah.
And like just down to the writing, even felt very empty.
Everything felt empty and unimportant, and like it felt like a second draft out of what should have been 8 drafts.
Yeah, it really. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, it was a weird book. All right, we have Das Witcher.
Crunchy.
Um,
I
Crunchy, crunchy.
It had a lot of problems. I don't think we can ignore that.
I just like the short story format.
Yeah, I just think it had too many individual problems with the individual stories to go in.
Fair enough.
I'm very fond of it, and I'm very fond of the potential it had. But I think think
Crunchy.
each of the stories individually are pretty weak, and so I would put this in like lukewarm.
No, put it in crunchy because I would say
You
crisp
can
to
put it
crunchy. She
half and
says
half.
crunchy.
You can put it half and half. I'll allow it.
Half and half between
I
crunchy and
won't
lukewarm. I think
allow
that's
it.
true.
Would you say that you'd put it on the same level as Princess Floralinda?
No, it's better than Princess Floralinda. Like objectively speaking, like short story to short story, it has a better format. It has better writing.
Well,
Like no
okay.
offense to no offense, but like it is more. It is a realized project for the most part.
See, for me, it's not quite because the first 3 stories are clearly written in a different mode than the others, and he's still kind of feeling out the character.
But that's
if
what
you
the
wanna-
purpose is.
If you want to put it in crisp, and I want to put it in lukewarm, where do you want to
Let's
put
put
it,
it
Katie,
crunchy.
Maria?
Let's put it.
Let's put it crunchy.
I think
it
can
deserves
go in
crunchy.
Okay, all right, crunchy. And then we have me and Maria did Nightbane. Soggy?
Oh, boy.
God, soggy. That was so
Yeah, we've kind of already
was
gone over
so
it. It's just
painful. And weirdly, I think we put Lightlark and Burnt last year. Like it really, it just got worse. And the whole like, oh, they secretly had been like, you get to see how they've been lovers the whole time and how they.
oh god, there's
fell
like a
in
whole
love.
amnesia plot.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
God.
And her getting her
Ugh.
mom's like leopard, like that just turned out to be the least involved and integrated part of it. It just Nightbane, Lightlark at least was not boring. It was silly at times, it was campy at times. The writing is not the strongest by a long shot, but at least it wasn't boring. Nightbane was just boring.
Yeah,
I
it's
read
awful.
the first chapter of Lightlark and I was like, okay. And if that's worse than that, holy
It's so
shit,
bad.
I
Yeah.
am so
It's
sorry.
so bad.
It's just so boring. The structure is very unsatisfying. Well, we're at it then. Let's do Six of Crows.
Burnt.
What do you think, Maria? Because I think soggy.
I would say burnt. I don't.
Yeah.
I think the author, it works as well as it does because I think the author has some good writing
Skill.
things that like peek through and make it happen. And there are some moments that work. So I don't think. See, for me, soggy is completely irredeemable, and I don't think
Yeah.
Six of Crows.
No.
I think
I think you're remembering like our semi rewrite of it in the video more than you're actually.
No,
remembering
it was
it.
fine. It was fine. It's
Fine.
burnt. It's burnt.
All right, we'll put it in burnt. Ugh. Okay, and then we have me and Katie did Stardust Thief. That I would say just goes
Soggy.
in soggy, right?
Yeah, soggy.
as someone who also read it, soggy.
Soggy.
It was
Soggy
so.
AF.
It might be one of the most boring books we did. Like I would say, it was even more boring than Nightbane because it was so much longer.
Maria, what are you gonna say?
You,
Oh,
Maria,
never mind.
alone did Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
No, I
it was
didn't.
it was me and Gina.
I know,
so
but
this
you're
is-
the only one who read it here.
Oh, you alone.
So where do you want to put it?
I would say it goes crunchy. Yeah, I would say it's not crisp, but I would say crunchy. It's a fun time. I think if you read it, you would have had a very hard time taking it seriously because it's very silly.
I really like the radio play version of it.
It
So
was fun. It was a good time, and I definitely think the first book is the best of them. Some of the others get a little bit more. The big thing I had that Gina and I talked about was I wanted an emotional punch from it a little bit, and you get that a bit more in some of the later books. But it's just a fun time, and like he knows what the author is seeking to execute and do a specific thing, and he does it.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that that checks out from what I remember of it as well. Hold on, I'm rearranging these so we can. Okay. Then House of the Scorpion, I would put up in like crisp.
Crisp. That was a crisp book. It had some problems, but it was primarily just a gut punch.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what? I think it has to go halfway because that last
Yeah.
third with the
It's literally like the last third brings it down to crunchy versus crisp, but it's still like a hell of a good book to read.
Cheshak, we are not including Shadow of the Conqueror because it's so low that it would skew the results.
it would
Yeah,
absolutely.
it really would. It would just make you and it's still doing it just by existing.
So, for instance, like a Court of Wings and Ruin we kind of argued burnt and soggy, but if Shadow of the Conqueror was in soggy,
It would be it would look lukewarm.
it would be lukewarm. Like it just
Yeah.
skews it too much. We just honestly can't even talk about it.
That book was just so awful. Okay, Butcher and Blackbird. Soggy?
Soggy.
That was just it was a real bad like, I
Burnt.
just don't
Now,
Burnt.
I will argue for the people
Burnt.
who want a
Burnt.
romance comedy about serial killers. This probably
It's burnt.
hit, but
No.
the reason I will argue
It's burnt. It's
I will
better
argue
prosaically than Mortal Engines.
yeah, but do you remember the part where he just left his dick in her? And then
Yeah.
the part where he's like, pick
Yeah.
a safe word.
Yes,
And
but
how
burnt.
like their bonding
Burnt.
was over like cooking that he stalked her with.
Yeah,
and
but
not,
it's
like,
porn.
murder.
Yeah, but it's porn. So
And
it's
also
burnt.
the plot progression made no sense.
so.
Yes,
so
but it's
here's-
burnt.
Here's the argument I'm gonna make. It doesn't. So it can't go above burnt because, as we pointed
No,
out,
it can't.
If you want a story about serial killer romances, you should have engaged in the absurdity of romance and
Mhm.
stalking. Prey.
Yeah, exactly.
It should have done that. But I think for a lot of people who don't actually want to get too deep, it has some stuff. And the one thing I will say is the authors. Actually, no. What I was going to comment on was the audiobook narrators. They were fucking great. Like they really gave.
They
gave
actually
I think
were
it's
very
burnt.
good. That's true.
I think it's a burnt quality book. I think it's the thing is it's aiming for something significantly lower than every other book we've looked at here.
I will
So-
say that if you listen to the audiobook version, I could seize between soggy and burnt. The book
Okay.
itself, I think, is soggy. I think if you want a serial killer romance,
Probably.
just watch Hannibal. And then, but because the audiobook list, like, it was just easy to listen to them.
It so
And
was.
since Katie wants it to be in burnt, we'll put it halfway.
in middle. Okay,
Halfway.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Me and Maria then did the first half and the second half of the Garth Nix books, The Keys to the Kingdom. We're going to do those opposite, or we're doing those in two parts, the first
I
half and the second half.
Guys, wait a second, real quick. I just want to clarify. Um, okay, look, I don't think it's actually burnt, but I think for what the author's goal is, she succeeded in it. So I think that fulfills a certain a box, a checkbox for me to say in the overall quality. I think it is in the burnt to soggy. I would agree, burnt to soggy.
Okay.
I
Anyway.
don't care about authors' projects. I care about good books. I don't care if your plan is to make something terrible. Be better. Okay, first half of the series. This is Mr. Monday, Burnt. It's not Burnt Tuesday.
Grim
Grim
Tuesday. Grim Tuesday. Drowned Wednesday.
Drowned Wednesday, and
Sir Thursday.
Sir Thursday. I think this goes in crisp. I
Crisp.
love
Absolutely.
these fucking books.
Crisp AF. Crisp AF.
This is
What
the
a
YA I am here for.
I need to
And-
read it.
It is such an interesting, silly, good time, but with such stakes at certain points. But it is like if I had children, which is not going to happen. Children, but if I
Opposite
niece or
for me,
nephew,
children.
if I had a niece or nephew, I would be like, read this, little person.
Like my
because-
child.
Yes, if Katie had a child, I would be like, read this because this is a book series, and I would say it technically would probably get classified more middle grade than YA. But
Yeah.
it doesn't treat kids like they're dumb. It presents
Yeah.
some serious topics. It also embraces creep factor, and it's also fun, silly, and the main character feels like a what is he, like 12, 13?
He feels like a 12-year-old.
He
Yeah.
feels
I like smart kids.
Yes,
I love
think-
that.
and
I
he's
think
also
also-
just practical, which is
Garth Nix is so good at character build or world building as well. There's so much cool shit in here. Also, in terms of reading this for kids, I think it has really strong gender messages. I remember when I was a kid,
Really?
it's very kind of like, well, it's just there's a lot of women in it. You know what I mean? Like half the people, the default is for it have to be half male, half female. I really liked that. I remember as a kid, it made me think about it a lot as well. It kind of challenged the status quo.
I'm
What?
sorry. Eden said you can be a parasocial, auntie when I baby
trap my
trap.
husband.
and I will recommend to your child Garth Nix's oh god, what's the series called?
The Keys to the
Keys
Kingdom.
to the Kingdom. Keys to the
Now, the second half of that was something.
Crunchy.
It's not Sleepy Thursday, but it was
No, it's
Oh.
it's
Lady Thursday.
No. That's Sir Thursday. It's Lady Friday.
Lady Friday, Superior Saturday, and Lord Sunday.
Yes.
And I liked
Oh,
the. I did
Lord?
not like the ending when I was young, and when I reread it, and then Maria had a theory about the ending that makes me actually like at peace with it in a weird way that I
Really?
just haven't been. Yeah, like we kind of rewrote it, but the rewrite can sort of be in the book. Like I just
Yeah.
changed how I
It
thought
was-
about it.
It was the take that I had of the ending. And
Oh, I
it's
see.
kind of like we both read it. This is the way I had gone with it, and he hadn't, and he heard my interpretation, and it definitely is an interpretation. I don't think the
Mhm.
text is explicitly saying what my interpretation, but my interpretation can easily be supported by what is there.
Can we spoil it for
and
the next
also-
minute or so? And can you tell me what that is?
God, it would take. You're just
Oh, okay,
gonna
never
have
mind.
to read them. It's
It's
such a
about God
wild-
and the construction of the universe, and it's a lot, and humanity's place in it.
I understand.
It's crazy.
Again, this is a children's book for middle schoolers, but so and the thing is, this is the weaker half of the series. He kind of runs his world building is not as interesting. He kind of runs into some plot problems. So I would put this in crunchy. I mean, it
I would say
actually
crunchy.
crisp to crunchy or just crunchy.
I would say solidly crunchy. It's good, but it has some of the flaws, and it doesn't quite reach the heights. Now,
Yeah.
if I was being more just personally how I engage with it on a subjective level, I would say crisp to crunchy. But I think objectively crunchy.
Yeah.
And
No, I think you're correct. I think that's very true. And crunchy is still good. You know what I mean?
yes.
It's not
yeah,
like
no, crunchy
bad.
is great. Like sometimes I make my toast crunchy on purpose because I like it like that.
Let's see. Okay, so we have Iron
We know where it's
Flame.
going. Just
Soggy.
throw it. Just throw it. We don't.
Soggy.
Come on now. Come on now.
It's so much more painful even than the first book, which is
Yes, it
crazy.
is.
so boring.
It
It's
is.
just
They have sex on a throne. Like, the book that wouldn't burn is lukewarm.
yeah. lukewarm to burnt a little bit. Like there's so much
Yeah,
good, but there was so
I'm
much
gonna put
not
it.
good.
I'm gonna put it half and half because ultimately it's too long for how little it achieves. If it was a
Yes.
shorter book, I'd be like, "Oh, that's lukewarm," but it's a long book and it doesn't really achieve much.
But I will tell all of you who are listening who don't know anything about it, it is a very fascinating book. It takes on
Mm,
fun ideas but does not execute them well. So, like, if you
yes.
want a breath of fresh air as far as fiction goes, that might be something you want to look into. It will not be super satisfying, though.
Yeah, it's two stories and they're both interesting, but neither of them complement the other and neither of them has the time. Because he's trying to save a twist for one story that like would ruin the other, so he can't really explore either very well. I found. Okay, Divine Rivals.
Burnt.
Soggy.
Um,
I think it
It's a
has.
waste of time.
it is a
I,
waste
I'm
of time.
I guess so, but I do think it's better than most of the ones we have in Soggy. I would say
That is
Burnt.
true,
It's
I
not good,
guess.
and it has some redeem.
Half
Like
and
it
half.
has some.
Half and
It has
half.
some moments where you're like, I
I
like this thing.
I'd put it in Burnt just because like it's shorter than like it's
Okay,
better than
fine.
Butcher and Blackbird and it's better than Court of Rings and Ruin. Just
Fair
because
enough.
it's short and
Yes.
also I could see how
Yes.
some people might like it. It's lukewarm to me, but I'm not passionate enough to fight for it, says Mallory. Yeah. I mean,
I
I
feel
will
like
say
that
this.
says it all. That says it all.
I will say this, it has like the third best sex scene we've read in the entire podcast.
It really
That is-
Like,
does. It's so lovely. Like
this
the
is
back
cute.
half of the romance is super adorable. The front half, back half, very cute. I wish we could have had that the whole time. Why couldn't we have gone? I don't know why we are obsessed with people just being antagonistic towards each other out the gate. With romance, when people being like nice and cute with each other is nice and cute, especially like as you watch them fall for each other. I don't know why this isn't the world we can live in. Continuing.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel about it as well. I just like I remember it being kind of bad but harmless almost. Actually we're not going to do that one. All right. The slow regard of silent things that
See,
me
if
and
you
Maria
said the
did.
name of the wind, I would be able to tell you, but I don't know this one.
No.
Lukewarm.
I would put it in Burnt. I just
allow
thought
it.
it was I just thought it was real boring.
Everyone,
And I think what he
Maria
was
and
trying
I,
to do wasn't great.
Maria and I used to room with the cousin
Oh,
to
Patrick
this author.
Rothfuss.
Yeah,
Like,
and she was in a what's it called?
family reunion.
No. What? Yes, that too. No, I meant she came down to She came down to a place.
They all know we live in Florida, Katie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I know. They all. She came down to Florida in order to pursue a what's it called?
Nursing.
No, but what's it called? The thing that puts you under.
Anesthesia.
She was in an anesthesia program, to be an anesthesiologist, and like that's his cousin. So we heard. I never got my signed autograph, but that's fine,
Yeah, we
honestly,
were
at
both
this
supposed
point.
to get signed copies because she was going back for a family reunion, but
But his
Also, if
father
we
had
were-
recently died.
If we were doing Name of the Wind and the Wise Man's Fear, this would be a very different
discussion.
discussion. But we're just doing
Really?
just the short story.
But
Yeah, me and Maria discussed it a little bit in this one, which is kind of why I wanted to do this one, so we could discuss it without having to read the
Having to
whole
read it.
fucking book.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right, Legends and Lattes. I hate this book.
Did you
Oh.
I didn't
read it?
so it's up to you guys.
Yeah. I would say lukewarm
I would
to
say
crunchy. Halfway between two.
Ooh, I was gonna say lukewarm to burnt. So the best you're gonna get out of me is
Lukewarm. Lukewarm then. I think for those of you looking for what that cover looks like, it's 100,000,000% you.
The thing is, I would argue that I love slice of life.
So do I. So do I.
slow-paced
So do I.
Stories, and this just didn't have.
But-
Again, the big argument I had was what makes a slice of life, slow-paced, procedural kind of story work is being really grounded in the characters' emotional struggles, and this
Fair
book
enough.
This book is like if you've been through a rough time and you need something with zero stakes, or where you know that it is going to all work out with the neatest, prettiest bow on the planet,
Yeah.
like you just cannot tolerate an ounce of tension. And
Yeah.
I'm not
Yes.
saying that like negatively. I'm just because sometimes you're in that point where you're like,
Yeah,
I just need
exactly.
something fluffy, please.
Look,
That's Legends and Lattes.
I've been at different points. You obviously know I oscillate quite widely. What I would say is, though, is there is a very specific population that wants this, and it fulfills it. So I think because, once again, my philosophy on is, did they hit the mark? I objectively have one concept, and then subjectively have another. But what I would put it in is lukewarm. I think it accomplished the mission, and I think it did a well enough job at it. I don't think it was great. I would never reread it, but I think it is a lukewarm.
Is this the one where you first pronounced the Hitakiri Batosa?
Yes,
No.
I made
What?
the Rurouni Kenshin. This is the one where
Yes.
I talked about Rurouni Kenshin and how it does the thing of somebody trying to reform their life, and it has like the cute cozy vibes, but it also brings some tension.
Yeah, I remember.
And like how you can't.
She's
just, like-
right. She's 100% right. So if you
Yeah.
want a little bit of tension with that, this is not the book for you. This is like passable. This is passable.
Katie, what's your rating?
I would say lukewarm to burnt. I would be okay with.
Maria, what is your rating?
That's exactly where I'd put it.
Lukewarm
it has
to
some
burnt?
cute stuff.
I'm trying to be objective, but I'm also trying to
Yeah,
consider
Katie
the
would- I
author's
think
purpose.
Katie naturally would put it crunchy
Lukewarm.
lukewarm.
No, not crunchy. Not crunchy, just lukewarm.
Hold on, I have to figure out how to unlock this so that I can move things down.
That's fine. I would say lukewarm because the thing is, you have to remember the writing style is passable. Everything's just passable. That's the problem. It doesn't excel in any way, but it is very passable.
Now,
And I'm okay with passable things.
that being said, I can understand why for some people this is just like a warm hug on a rainy
Yeah.
day. Like it is just But I like
I'm having trouble moving these things over, so we're just gonna put it there.
Right there, that's
halfway
fine.
between those
That
two.
works.
Okay. Fate inked in blood.
beautifully soggy.
Ah,
This is like the funnest soggy book we read.
that is the funnest soggy book we read. It is a soggy ass book.
It's soggy, but it was the funnest of the lot.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
boring and somehow hysterical.
Yes.
Mhm.
If you want a
I
soggy
I
book
love
for
the
some
video
reason,
to this one.
yeah, if you want a soggy book for some reason, read this.
Also, me and Katie-
It's a good time.
Me and Katie just read Shadow of the Gods. It's not on here because the video hasn't come out yet, which is also like very strictly Norse. Like he puts in a lot of historical stuff. And
Yeah.
so I view these two as like shadows of each other. Like,
Oh my
this is the
fucking
romantic
god.
one where she didn't care about it because they both say like the Draicha a lot. Or
That's
what was it?
no.
Not the Draicha. They call there's some name for a ship or a clan or
Drache.
something like. The Drache. Yeah, they both mention that at the same time and stuff. And so I always think of them as like that. But yeah, soggy.
I love every time Astrid just puts lemons.
It's listen, that's the theme of that book.
Oh my god.
It
I
never
just
recovered.
it's just like it's so like look, so the lemon juice was already in the first 10 pages and I was like, okay, like is this even a thing? Like I don't know if this is historically accurate. Regardless, we're going to move on. But then in the next 10 pages or so or 15 pages, a beautiful ripped ass man comes out of a river, wet and glistening, while she's trying to save fish and throw them back into the water. And she's like, oh my god, I can't cheat on my husband because I'm a faithful wife.
Can I just say I've reached my boiling point. I am officially mad at how women write men. I don't like it. It's overly sexualized. It infantilizes and objectifies them. And I'm not even kidding. I'm done with it. Like I don't like it. We would not allow this if it was women. If there was a genre of fantasy that was like, hey, I'm going to talk about women and their boobies a lot as they come out of the water. No, we would not accept it. We would not accept it. I mean, sure, somebody in society would because like society as a whole is still patriarchal.
Do we all remember the opening of The Witcher?
No,
I don't.
No.
That's
and
different.
notice how much flack it got. And
Yeah,
notice how much flack it got
exactly.
from
Yeah.
everyone in our community.
So my point is though, we're at a stage now where that stuff, because you're right, and we need to be analyzing the descriptions of romantic men in uh romantasy and romance books as much as we
That's fair.
have critiqued female portrayals, but there was like, I want to say 40 years of literary history where men were just describing women like that. So I'm not saying it's right for women to now be doing it, but we cannot pretend like this wasn't a common
No. My
occurrence.
intention wasn't that men can't be gross. I'm sure there was, breasted boobily is a thing for a reason. But like I don't understand why this is allowed and the other isn't. I just don't like how much they objectify men. I
So
don't like it.
part of it is, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of fantasy books and books written by men still had a really good female audience, because
Yeah.
if they were trying to engage in fantasy, like 30 years ago, there wasn't as much female written fantasy, so women were reading that and going, what the fuck is happening here? But men are not dipping as much into, so you're not getting that other side of the coin. Now,
Yeah.
as women, we need to look at that and go, what are we doing here? That's a wild. Now, and I will make the argument that there are books still being published today that talk about women in the same way men are being talked about in these books, and it is a reflection of how women continuously are displayed in movies and media, which is basically that. And so
Yes.
it's still happening, but we need to be critiquing
Aware.
and bringing both to court.
Yes.
I would say
agreed.
that if this was a discussion about movies, for example, I don't think it's valid. Men's bodies are have to be in an idealized form, but it is an idealized male gaze form, not one for women.
About power.
For example.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Exactly. Like it's they look like superheroes because men want to feel like superheroes.
Yeah.
Not because women are attracted to superheroes. They're attracted to Loki.
No.
Loki. Am I right, Katie? And
No, but also just like a little fat is nice. Like it's very curvaceous. Also, guys, like as a future exercise.
yeah, that would
Rachel,
be really funny.
Yeah, that would.
So
I didn't think of
we
it,
have to
but-
read that. Click that, guys. This is a podcast. Some people listen to this audio.
I know.
Oh,
Katie
sorry.
never reads it.
I know I don't. I'm sorry. It was talking about how we should discuss how the art of the book matches up with the actual plot.
Yeah,
and
I
our
think that would be
thoughts.
really funny to do.
Yes.
We couldn't
would.
do it for every book. Maybe on the Patreon, we'd have people nominate books they want to see or something like that. Or
Yeah,
just things, I think.
Fate Inked in Blood, great cover.
I
Yeah,
would,
no, for sure. You go ahead, Will.
I should have done that for this one, but I just didn't think so. We'll do it for year 4, anniversary 4.
Miss Scarlet
and,
Tanager, real quick. Yes, dad bod. Mwah. Mwah. Mwah.
Yeah, no, I just don't like it. I'm tired of pretend. You know, the thing is, I remember when I read TSC, I was like, this is kind of uncomfortable, but it's not the biggest problem in the world. Having read a lot of romantasy now, I do think it's the biggest problem in the world. I don't like it. Again, if this was a different media form, if we were talking about different genres, and again, society as a whole still objectifies women much more. I'm sure books as a whole do it, but like we in the rational society do not accept when books do it to women. We should not accept when books do it to men. Their bodies
I
are
agree.
constantly
Agreed.
objectified in these books.
Fully agreed on both gender scales. It's because, look, no matter what, it's gonna still make people feel like shit. Also, no, that's not what I wanted. This one.
Valerie,
Oh.
Valerie, what's wrong with you? What is this?
How about the Savior's Champion cock wagging like a happy tail attached to the wrong end?
I actually think I might have everyone try to submit the worst line from TSC, and then we can like grade them or something. Because that's
That
what
is
the
so dumb. What is it? An antenna that's like, I'm trying to find aliens in the sky. Like,
The
what?
Yeah.
It's
All right.
wild.
Let's finish this up.
Yes.
All right. Max Gladstone, 3 Parts Dead, which we all
Crunchy.
3 read, but only
Katie
Crunchy
and
to
you
lukewarm.
were in the video.
All right. Katie wants Crunchy. What do you think, Maria?
I would say there was some good in this. Like, the world building is really interesting, but I found it a little
Yeah.
scattered. The structure was a bit off, and like some of the really cool concepts weren't described in a way that I felt like they landed a lot. So I would say lukewarm for me. I definitely don't think it's a
Fair
bad
enough.
book. I would say it's an okay book, but I know you enjoyed it more than I did, William.
No, I think lukewarm is perfectly
That's fine.
adequate. I think there are things the book did well, but I think it's not one of those books where you enjoy it lukewarm. It's one of those books where like there were moments of high and moments of low that
Yes.
average out to lukewarm is really the way
Yes.
I would put it. Let's see.
I
And
would
it
agree.
goes
Like, I have no
lukewarm,
problem with that as
lukewarm.
well.
100%, I would agree.
Yeah, that was my feeling over all of it. And then reminders of him, Soggy.
Yeah, I would say soggy to burnt. There was some the chapter of her reading her diary entry about the whole experience hit a level of emotionality, and like you could kind of see what she was getting at, but I don't think it was very executed well.
I think the other thing about it is it has a lot of weirdly toxic views about parenthood
Yes.
that like are kind of, again, they're not, the book isn't Shadow of the Conqueror where you're like, oh, this guy just like he is bad for society. This is something where like you can tell the author is kind of trying to be yeah, I put it in soggy. I think that's just gonna be the easiest thing.
Fascinating.
And then okay, we have the
Thank you,
Saint of
Grin.
Bright Doors. I'm sorry, Katie. I'm
It's
sorry.
soggy.
That's yeah. God, do we have a sub soggy category? I fucking
No, it is soggy. I'm sorry to say it was not an enjoyable read. Look, you all have heard, like, if you go and watch the video, I vibe for it in some ways, but it is a soggy read as an American woman, a white American woman. That's all I have to say to you. It is a soggy read.
And again, a book should be able to stand, because I think I had like 10% of this left before like my night of terribleness, but a book should be able to be enjoyable without fully understand, like, again, context and extra cultural things that you are not explicitly giving the reader should add, but it should not take away if you don't know them.
Yes.
Especially in a secondary world, which this kind of is like
yes,
you
Yes,
it
really
is a
can't
secondary
just-
world.
Maria Metateran had a really interesting point. Men being objectified. Margaret
Margaret
Atwood had a great
Atwood.
essay about how men in women's romance represent more than a person. They are the means through which a woman achieves her goal.
Yes.
And I think under the patriarchy, men and women can be reduced to prizes, just in different ways.
Yes.
By which I mean coming from the same place, but unequal in outcome.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually think that's very true. I think that's very true, and that they can be representations. I don't like how much men's bodies are objectified.
So,
I just don't like it.
and I think
think
part
it's
of the-
creepy.
Part of the thing is we are idealizing a specific type of man's body that is just like every Rhysand, what's his face from Fourth Wing, the guys in Light Lark and that thing, they all have the same like wide shouldered, down to the hips, like V of a build with like good
What did you
arms.
call them? The cock gutters?
No, that was Katie. Katie referred to them as, what was it? Cum gutters? Yeah.
I
Which
don't
is
know
a
about that, but
Terrible way to like, anyway, but the point is it's always that body. Like somehow we've gotten to the point where for years, like, women in looking at media, we went towards the Lokis, the Prince Bills. Like, if you look at the rom-coms from like the 90s, these guys aren't buff. Underneath the suits and stuff, they could probably have dad bods, you know? If we think of what's his face in Bridget Jones' Diary, who also played Darcy
Oh God.
in
Yes.
Colin
Yes.
Firth.
Yes.
Oh.
You know,
That we love.
That we love. So there was this like acceptance of what I like to call just like the like a skinny fat body that with good clothes on it, like that was just like, and what attracted us was, for a lot of these things, was like the personality. And now we have in a lot of romantasy, we've swung hard in the other direction where women are just really idealizing a heightened sense of physical like muscliness in men that I find like give me a
That
dad
kind.
bod, give me a guy who's skinny and
Again,
like, whose arms are kind of like
I have mentioned.
long. You know, like, what are we doing here?
I would. No, you started first, God.
I was just gonna say I would mention the daddy. I'm forgetting the name of the game, but the daddy game where you date different
Octodad?
dads. No, not Octodad, but we should play that. No, the RPG where you like date hot daddies. But those ones, like, yeah. Wait, Katie's again standing in front of the bookshelf, hands
Bookshelf.
on hips.
Like the Cuban grandma again, the coolest Cuban grandma. It's
Cuban
really
grandma.
true.
Oh,
I will
Dream
say,
Daddy. Dream Daddy.
I actually even wouldn't mind the worship of that body type if it just came once they were in an emotional relationship.
need-
Because once you're in an emotional relationship, you tend to like that person's body more
Yeah,
than you
exactly.
did at the beginning. I would be fine
I
with
need
that.
short.
It's
I
then it
need
would be
short
less
kings.
objectification.
I need dwarf. I need dwarf fiction, romance fiction.
Yeah.
I used to love. Oh, okay, well, no, I won't
Boring.
say it.
I know.
I
Okay. We don't need to talk about it. I know the deep lore. Okay, final book then. Speaking of objectifying men, Allie
know.
Uh,
Lukewarm.
Hazelwood.
Lukewarm. It was not
Yeah,
great,
lukewarm.
but it again of the like romance books we read, it was by far the least problematic and it's just harmless. Like it succeeds as being a fluffy romance book trying to be a fluffy romance book. It is not like you're not going to remember it. It's a beach read in the way we should
Yes.
kind of look at. It's not good, but it's not like I don't read it and go I don't understand this.
Right.
I read it and I go I understand this. It's not for me, but I get it.
I want to point out two things. I want to point out that Miss Scarlett Tanders says, "Give us Varric Tethys," and for all of you who understand, yes. And then Eden said that she'll publish just for me. Please, I'm waiting. And then finally, I like the go that we all go between Wes Anderson, Atwood, and Dream Daddy in all one stream.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just like so I'm going to make an argument for what I think is one of the best romances put to pen, put to words. It is Ursula K. Le Guin's oh god, what's that book called? I'm blanking on the
Have I read it?
No, you have not read it.
Oh.
God, it's not Left Hand of Darkness. It's not it's my favorite.
Is it the one
of her
about
books.
the caterpillar?
No. Oh my god.
The
what am I talking
caterpillar.
about?
Yeah, who like impregnates
The
the boy?
Dispossessed. The Dispossessed. The romance in The Dispossessed is so quiet, so realistic, and there is a paragraph about like that just encapsulates such a beautiful view of what love should be and like how to interact with it. And also like the two characters just have real like they're real people bodies. Like and it's
Can we read it?
So the thing is, I don't know if it'll do. I think if we read an Ursula K. Le Guin, we should probably do The Left Hand of Darkness. It is a great book, and it is more fun.
Fine.
The Dispossessed is a book about living on an what is that called?
An ant farm?
No, anarchical syndicalism. That it's basically you're on a moon where it is basically an anarchical syndicalistic society, and you get to live the main character's life up to the point where he goes to the planet that this moon orbits, and the planet is a capitalistic society, and so you get his entire life growing up in his society and then him experiencing this and at first being kind of like wowed, and so on one hand it's a very slow story about life living within like and what society would look at, but you really bond with the main character, and then also him becoming part of a revolution on the planet that he is in. So on one hand it's just like this intense and like creeping, like you know nothing good is going to come of what is happening, and just it's great. I love that book so much. It is one of my favorite books I have ever read.
Well, then we should read it
next
time.
It's kind of boring for a lot
Who cares?
of people. It's
Who cares? Let's read it.
Thing.
But let's read it. Let's read it because there might be some gems where we could be like, wow, this really worked despite the slow progress, and that could help people who have slower plots, you know?
Yeah. It's a great book, and it's
more muscle mommies. Yes, I fully agree, Angry Otter.
Just different body types, please. Men, women, non-binary, different body types.
I think a pretty definitive ranking. I think this is pretty good.
That was intense.
Only 3 books made it into Crisp this year, which I'm actually kind of surprised about.
In previous years, we've had way more in lukewarm, crunchy, and crisp than burnt and soggy. And this year, we read a lot of not great stuff this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what it is I think I tried to have us read good books, but the problem is that a lot of them just ended up in lukewarm.
Yep.
But it also means we didn't, though I don't know, there was a part there where we were just doing like roast after roast after roast. Like, you have to bear in mind that like, I don't always think these books are going to be bad. Saint of Bright Doors got a lot of critical acclaim. I thought it was going to be good. Stardust Thief I thought was going to be good.
Fate, Ink, and Blood had some good reviews for a romance book, so when we went to do it, we thought like, well, at least I thought when I saw the reviews for it, I was like, oh man, like this is going to be vaguely good. No.
Yeah, spear cuts through water. Vampires have been looked at. All the burning bones. Warm hands
We
of
thought
ghosts.
all of those were
Mistborn.
gonna be
Six
good.
crows. Yeah, we thought all of those were going to be good, and none of them were. Yeah, so it's World War Z a little bit too. Divine Rivals.
Mr.
No, I
Jones.
knew that was going to be a trash fire. But yeah, so the thing is, like, I do try to get us to read books that are good. Because like those are books
But
that
I think we rated them correctly. Like, I think what is in the crisp is correctively in the yes, exactly. But I also think that is what is correctively in the crisp zone. And I think crunchy. I think we did a wonderful job rating them personally. Like both, because again, I war with myself because I have like the person in me who's like I'm gonna go ahead and just like name it as the teacher in me. The teacher in me is like I see the potential. I see what you're doing. I can appreciate that, and I think within that level you're doing very well. And then there's the objective level where it's like, no, that's not good enough. And like, I think we did a good job rating them personally.
I think so. I would only suggest reading things in the crunchy to crisp tier. I think
Yep.
under that, these are kind of a waste of
So
your time.
I think some people will enjoy things that are in the lukewarm depending on taste. Like I think some people will enjoy The Thief. I think some people would enjoy
For yeah,
the
the kiss thing, the romance book.
the one, yeah, the whatever that one's called. We forgot
Yeah,
the name. That should tell you a lot.
Love
yeah,
What was it called?
hypothesis.
love
The Love
hypothesis.
Hypothesis.
There
I
are
think some
many
people are
people that would
probably
love
gonna,
the absolute hell out of it.
you know, if you think Adam Driver is like top
Driving
boy,
you.
A tall, handsome piece of toast.
top boy, then you're probably gonna like that. And yeah, and I think some people will enjoy like I said, like Will and Katie I think enjoyed three parts dead more so than I did. I can see someone reading that and having a good time with it despite some of its flaws. So
Yeah.
I would say lukewarm enough, go ahead and read it.
I would say don't. It might be worth your time, but time is limited in life.
Yeah, it is, and it's not that worth it. Oh, Pumpernickel, the three-legged cat.
Aww.
Three-legged kiddo, she's doing so good.
I mean, like, I also have. Oh, never mind. He's gone. Yeah.
She's like,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say very serious business.
Yeah, she is very serious business. Also, everyone who plays Baldur's Gate 3, I will shoot you a message on Discord later, and we'll talk about it then.
Okay, anything else you guys want to go over since it's our 3rd-year anniversary live stream? I think this was pretty good. For those who are on the
Yes,
channel,
pumpkin.
next week we are going to be doing a live stream of our book club for The Savior's Champion. Katie's going to be reading it for the first time. I will be reading it for the 3rd
I
time.
haven't started it yet. I'm sorry. I've so everyone who is on the Discord knows that I've become a teacher recently, and it just so I can't fully describe to you. Anybody who doesn't live in the US teachers are done so gosh darn dirty. It's not even funny. And I knew this, which is why I avoided it for a decade. But now I guess I just like it so much that I'm just gonna torture myself. So that's where I'm at. But I am gonna start it right now today.
You also do need to finish it, unfortunately, because you're one of the main draws. Of
No, I
the
know.
video.
I'm well aware. I will have it finished, but it will be
Okay.
a torture for me.
Yeah,
Okay,
well.
all right. But yeah, you can read along because again, it's going to be like how we do our book club live streams if you've ever seen those, but for the channel as a whole. Yeah. I think that any other thoughts?
I just want to say thank you to everyone. Number one, everyone who's been part of this live stream. It has been great. This was a fun time. Tons of really fun comments. A ton we didn't even have a chance to highlight. But also, in general, to anyone watching this after we post it, thank you for being here. Thank you for investing your time in us. Those of you who found us recently and started binging, those who have been with us for 3 years. It is insane to me as a person who has her own comfort channels, and like every time I find a new video essay channel that I like, I'm like, oh, the backlog.
Yeah.
That I have, that like we are part of people's lives in the same way, and we're adding to that. And for those of you that like are getting things from, like, it blows my mind that we are here, that we made it 3 years, that we have consistently baby grown the whole way through. And I just I cannot, like, this is wild, guys.
It's so crazy to me that people like our channel so much because I'm like, it's just me. I'm just reading. Like, you know what I mean? It's really cool that, yeah, people are excited to watch our stuff. People on the Discord will talk about like rewatching a video while they're doing something else. I think that's the coolest thing because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's I didn't know that we brought so much light to people's dark, gloomy, hollow lives when I started
I
out this channel, but
I
I
just
think it's
want,
cool that we
like,
do.
um what we do on here is my passion, and I can't pursue it, unfortunately, because that doesn't allow enough money to survive off of. And and if it were, it would be a gamble. But that being said, I am so happy that in a world where the earth is dying, and no, I mean it, like, seriously, like, it grates on me every day how awful the environment is, and how horrible growing up is. Like, honestly, like, it's really hard to stay connected in this world, and maybe that's the way it is for every generation. Maybe it just always gets harder. But regardless, like, it's really horrible. The magic. I wrote a poem in my second year of college in a Starbucks about how, like, magic gets taken away from you as you grow older, and it does. And books are one of the few magical pieces in my life still besides music, and it's just incredibly rewarding to have people also love to dissociate and go into a different world and still value that, because I will tell you right now, the newer generation does not care, and it's not their fault, and it's just like, it's horrible. And so I just really value all of you, and thank you very much for talking to us. It means a lot. And also, I don't know why we didn't do The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, but I thought it
Oh,
was a fairly decent book.
We did.
okay. Okay, so because a couple people have asked, Spirit
Oh,
Bears
oh
Its Teeth
yeah.
is a video that was a Patreon. The thing is, it's a 3-hour video, and I just have not had time to edit it
Oh yeah, I
until now.
forgot.
So I'm about
Yeah,
halfway through. It'll
there you
probably
go.
be the one in like 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after will probably be that. It just takes a long
Again,
time to
Will's
edit.
overwhelmed, like, by work. So, like, it
It's a
just happens
one-man
like that.
show over there. We show
Yeah,
Yeah, for
up,
the
it's
we
editing.
read things, and we show up for
Yes.
videos. And like
Yes.
every once in a while, he'll run an idea by us, and we'll be like, "Wow, that sounds really cool." And every once in a while, we have ideas. You
But it's
know?
Will's, like, circus, you know? And so Will has a lot of responsibilities, and editing takes a very long time. In my attempts to do it, it is very complicated, especially when you don't have any technical knowledge on the behind of it. So he's getting to it. But that being said, when you can watch it, please do so. I think it's worth it. And also, it is a pretty good book, but it has its faults.
Yeah, I think it's a book that's deeply personal. Not to get too far into it, but it's a book that, like, if it speaks to you, it speaks to you very
Very
strongly.
strongly.
And if you don't, it doesn't.
Me
It's kind
too.
of like got problems. But yeah. And I mean, one thing about the channel that I didn't realize is that, like, it really attracts people of our personality and humor, and that's
Yes.
really cool. And I see that on the Discord a lot. Like, everybody gets the same kind of jokes a lot
Yeah.
of times because it's like you have to. The price of
Generational.
entry is being okay with me and Katie's sense of humor. Like, you
Yeah.
have to be okay with that if you want to join
Maria's
the
pretty
Discord.
palatable overall, but I have some really gross humor, and William has some pretty harsh humor.
Well, there's just a certain
Yeah.
level of sarcasm that if you don't
Yeah.
get, you don't get, but if you do, you're in. And the amount of people that, like, like how much I nitpick is not a thing I've ever experienced in my life, and that's really cool to have people who are also like, "Hey, I also really want to analyze this thing and talk about it." And that's been very cool. There's it's
Like,
interesting
when
because,
sorry.
huh?
Continue.
I like when Will's being sexist.
That's what I was
That's right.
reading. I'm so sorry. Like, continue.
I'm trying to do that less, just because I understand for some people it's grating. But yeah, and it's I don't think this channel will ever make it big, but I think it's kind of cool that we are having an impact on the people who do watch it. I think that's kind of cool. So.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be here without you guys. I think we would have given up after a year if it hadn't, like, gone anywhere. And also, it's just, let me tell you, it's a great forced time of interacting with your friends on a regular basis. It's
Correct.
I was talking to my boyfriend about D&D, and like sometimes you're like, oh god, I have to like pack everything up, drive over there.
Oh,
and
thanks
D&D is
for
like a
reminding me about that.
4 or 5 hour like investment, but it also is just like this is a time set aside where you're forced to like I always walk out of it being like, man, I'm so happy I did that. And this podcast is that I love these two people very, very much. I think one of the things that a lot of people talk about is how it's just like listening to
Three
a book
friends.
club between three friends, which is true. Like we're three people who like each other. But again, I don't think we would have lasted this long if it hadn't been for like the great response we got, the
No.
engagement we got, our patrons, and we talk about our patrons in our Discord a lot. Those of you that can't join, this is a rough time to be a human. So absolutely, that's fine. I appreciate all of you that comment. We're all incredibly busy people. And so while we don't comment and respond to a lot of our comments, we read them, share them
Every
amongst
single one.
ourselves.
Every single one.
And it means a ton to us, and it is because of that engagement that we continue to do this. As much as it is fun for us, the community of our viewers and our patrons is the biggest reason that I continue to do this.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's yeah, you guys are an important part of the channel, and you know, there's so few of you that counts for something. So
And honestly, in the next 20 years, we're not going to see these kinds of things anymore. And that's not, again, any disrespect on the younger generations, but it's just a lack of support. And we're just not going to have it. So please enjoy it while it lasts, because whether it's us or any other people, no, it's not going to happen. I'll tell you right
I don't
now.
know what you're talking about. I'm going to be 80 and still have this podcast going. It's not going to be every week, but I'm still doing it. Pirate Radio, like I'm going to be around when I'm 80 and still review. I'm never going to stop being
I just meant
nitpicky about
younger
books.
generations is what I'm saying. There's going to be a blackout of some sort. Whether or not it resuscitates itself or not, I don't know. We'll see. But like, it will not resuscitate for
Can you
itself
tell
for
that
at least 10
being
years.
a teacher has sucked Acadia for open society?
It's just, no. I mean, look, where we live is one of the lowest, but also it's disgusting. It is absolutely abhorrent that we are the richest nation in the world, and we don't, like, what is happening is disgusting. It is absolutely too far gone.
It's crazy. But on that note, we will say goodbye.
Yes.
And thank you all for joining us.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Okay, nobody make